Love all the mothers. Thank God for you guys for listening in. Father, we give you praise, honor, and glory for this broadcast. Thank you for our sisters for life. Thank you for our sisters for life listening in, and our brothers for life as well. We're better together. We're praying for all the mothers. Continue to strengthen them and keep them, Father, especially those whose mothers, whose loved ones have passed away. And they're dealing with the loss of a loved one, the Chandler family, the Nash family, with their being killed. Lord, we ask that you would strengthen them and keep them. And not only them, with all the families that have lost loved ones, Father. And those where their mothers have passed away, cause them to rejoice and remember the great memories. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. God bless you guys. We love you.
Lord, God bless you. Thank you so much for listening to Sisters for Life Live. And remember, if you or someone you know needs our assistance in any manner to make a decision for life, please contact us at area code 502-408-2950, 502-408-2950. And please consider being a partner with Sisters for Life in this call to bring about abundant life. Our mailing address is P.O. Box 32534 325. Virtual day.
Serving the African American community. 104.7 FM, AM 1350, WLOU Louisville, the People Station.
Our blue program is paid for by the
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
Hey. Once again, welcome to another episode of The Tipping Point Morning Show. It is yours truly, Mr. Just Ask Joe, and my brother from another mother, as always, that enlightened one, Mr. John Yah. How you doing there, family?
I'm good, brother. How about yourself this morning?
Oh man, I'm fantastic. You know what I love about doing this? You know, I've done radio and TV through the years, and I still get butterflies before any time I step up in front of a crowd, whether it was reading poetry when I was younger or TV shows as a kid. You know, the whole time, I even to this day, to right this second, I still get butterflies right before a show, man. It's a trip.
That's good, man. That's good. That means you're getting ready.
Hey, I'm trying, man. You know, we always trying. That's what we do every day, man. We've had a pretty exciting week, the both of us actually. We've been together on a couple different shows. I think last Saturday, right after this show at 10 a.m. Eastern time, we were on with Antonio T. May Taylor, and he had the health department as well as some other medical professionals and concerned mothers and different people from different walks of life talking about the COVID, or should I say the covert vaccine shot, right? Hey, look, on the radio, it's hard for me to break up the word vaccine. I can't, I gotta say vac and then scene, so the Facebook algorithm bots don't get me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you got to cover. You got to keep it undercover.
So let me ask you a question, man. What did you think? Last Saturday we were on that show, and then we're gonna talk about being on Carl Price Conscious Fever this week on Thursday as well. But what did you think about that show last Saturday? I mean, having those medical professionals together and talking, having an open conversation about the COVID-19. What was your thoughts? What were you left with?
Well, a couple of things, and the whole week was very interesting for me. We're dealing with that show. I think for the most part, because they know you and I are anti vaccine. So, it was as though, let us put these guys up against these professionals and these organizers, and let's see how they bet with their opinion towards them, right? And so, you and I, we don't have no fear. We don't care whether it's just a science or a doctor, whatever. We find that they run from particular questions that are very potent for people to hear. And here's what I like to say. For those, and what I want to do is, I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to find myself in a situation to where I don't want to talk to people that's already the vaccine. It's already done for them. I want to try to talk to the ones who have not taken the vaccine, those on the borderline, because what I find that once you cross that line and you on that side, you're going to do whatever you got to do to defend that. You're not going to admit you're wrong, and you don't, and taking that situation, you have to have in your subconscious, what if I'm doing the wrong thing? So that's the last thing you want to hear. So I want to be in the field of people, because there's a whole host of people out there that are afraid. They don't want to do this. And I so much agree with them. And I'm glad that we are the ones that have the platform that they can speak on and talk about that they're not interested in taking this vaccine. So I kind of found that scenario that really it's like this. And there are those who don't want us speaking this, as though there's only one opinion out there, right? And they don't want us giving the other opinion. But what I found that when I ask simple questions, as you do also, what's in the vaccine? What is it for? And when I got into the
John.
Nobody can tell us, right?
We had medical professionals on the show there on that Zoom or whatever this was. It was broadcasted live. You can go to Antonio T. May Taylor's page and see it. It was broadcasted live, and nobody can tell us about the vaccine. Nobody can tell us what's in it. Nobody can tell us the ingredients. No one speaks to the whole mRNA deal. No one speaks to the idea of metal and chips and the fact that we're doing things that we've never done before. And I hear people slip up and say the word technology. I heard a doctor on one of the videos that was played, and he said, we've been working on this technology for years, this vaccine technology for years. So that means that every year when the flu mutates and they come out with new flu vaccines, because every year it's a different strain, right? These are normalcies in our life today. And every year it's a different strain. So every year when they come out with that new vaccine, for the last 10 years, they've still been working on this specific COVID-19 vaccine technology. And I don't know about you, but here's the thing. I told everybody that they needed to go see on Carl Fever's Conscious Fever show, Carl Price Conscious Fever show. I told them, I said, look, y'all need to go and Google the phrase, the death of common sense. Because that's an interesting, I'm gonna try to see if I get that on and read that by the end of the show. But the death of common sense, it's something that people need to read up, because that's the thing. I think where you and I connect a lot is that we start with common sense.
Yeah.
You know, common sense plays a big part in our lives. And when you think about it, people are not using common sense. Why would you let someone inject something in you that you don't know what it is?
Wow.
That's the first common sense thing that should jump in your face and say, oh, snap, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? Because nobody can tell me what's in it. You know, second, common sense. Hey, they talked about the flu shot and Down syndrome connections and other illness connections to the flu shot. Why would you even want to be around something that has that type of smoke hovering over its head? You know, has that type of cloud over its head? Why would you even want to be connected to something remotely similar? So, you know, the fact of the matter is that nobody's really taking like the flu shots and all that stuff anymore. We don't need it. Our bodies are familiar with it. You know, we touch all type of things worse than the flu on a daily basis, from the bottom of our shoes and what's on the ground. I mean, I heard a doctor say one time last year that it's stuff on the hospital floor that's worse than the doggone COVID, you know, COVID-19 or covert 19. So, you know, she's not concerned about the COVID-19 because, you know, you touch something off, you pick something up off the ground, you're liable to catch something worse at a hospital. But I don't know, man. You know, it's been interesting all week. What'd you think about Carl Price Conscious Fever show?
Oh, that was interesting, very interesting. And so we were again. We're in a situation to where we are just given our side of what we would research objectively into this situation. But here's something that's very ironic. You know, here we are approaching Juneteenth. It's very interesting. A lot of people don't know exactly what is Juneteenth and how it came about. Well, actually, in 1865, or not 1862, or maybe January 1863, when Lincoln signed the Emancipation, freeing all the slaves, right? Now, the North knew it, but the South didn't know it. Up until 1865, June 19th. Okay, so now that means that there were people still enslaved for 2.5 years before they all knew. Now listen to this now. It's based on information. Information they were lacking. But here's the ironic part about this understanding. Some blacks, when they were told they were free, didn't believe it. Even though they were told, because master didn't tell them they were free. Right? They didn't believe it until master released them, until the federal government came in and said, no, you have to free these people. And this is where sharecropping came in later, where they started, because, you know, they didn't have jobs, so they started sharecropping to share the land and share the crop that they were producing. But listen to this very carefully, because this is where we're at right now today. There are some people right now that they want to stay blind. They don't want this information, right? So I guess those who are pro-vaccine don't want to be told that you're free. You can make any choice that you want to make. It is no different than 2.5 years people remained enslaved because of the lack of proper information. And here we are today, exempling the same thing, the same situation, to where people lost their common sense and don't want to question anything, don't want to have no objective research about this vaccine. And this is where we are. We are at this, what you will call, death of common sense. Not only that, when we challenge the one question about lipid nanoparticle, which is what I keep on bringing in the doctor's face, you hear them clearly go around that technology. They don't want to talk about what that is and how it works. And that's the scary part. That is actually, Joe, the experiment, because this new technology was just approved by the FDA in 2018. They were getting ready, and this COVID shot, it was the first time it was actually being used. So if people don't believe it, look it up. And I know it's hard to accept it, but you are being experimented on, and you don't know it. And that's the same as the people that remained enslaved for 2.5 years because of lack of information.
Man. Soon as Master seen a free slave within the 2 years walking around the local market, he shoot him away. Get on, get
away my plantation.
I can't let my slaves see you.
No, get away my plantation.
Man, can you imagine that, bro? I mean, and the thing about it is, when I look at every futuristic movie out there, it's always a breakdown of the internet. And with that, I think about the idea that will bring on a lack of information. That will bring on the inability for information to spread. So it's interesting that is. I mean, I think about these things, and I think about how easily it can happen. You know, those are the things that kind of mess with me on this, because I think about how easily that can happen, man. And you know, I don't know, but either way, man, we're gonna have an exciting show today. We do have your brother Sabir Bey calling in at about 9:30. So that's gonna be a nice talk. He's a part of the Knowledge Fest, right? And the Knowledge Fest is happening here in Louisville. I just seen a video with Dr. Boyce Watkins where he talked about how he was coming to Louisville for the Knowledge Fest. And it's interesting because, you know, he's a little different than some of the pro-Black brothers that are a part of this show or a part of this event. And it's interesting because, you know, I think I've heard maybe through the grapevine that, you know, might be a little bit of conversation about why do we have this quote unquote coon on this ticket. And you know, I think there's people that some people would, you know, say that about your brother Boyce Watkins, but you know, I don't know, man. When people start talking conservatism, you know, responsibility, taking care of ourselves, doing things for ourselves, we don't need them, we can do it ourselves, then people start yelling out coon. Is that an illness that we have, John?
Well, it definitely. If anybody's calling Dr. Boyce Watkins a coon, really have not analyzed and listened to what he be talking about. He is nowhere near a coon. He is mainstream. Of course, he's been on CNN and some of the major news networks, but he's far from a coon. I mean, he is far from a coon. I think that's what it is.
It's because he's mainstream. Because he has that
because
access.
He's mainstream, right? Because he's been on CNN and he has a suit on, and that is where a lot of people get confused. But if you listen to Dr. Boyce Watkins, he is nowhere near coon. I mean, that's the wrong name to even stick on that brother, to even compare him with that. But I do understand brothers who are on the underground, what I would like to call, who are teaching this hard knowledge, right? But what I love about this, what Ptah has done, is that Ptah is able to reach out on all sides to pull, because, to be honest with you, all of these brothers could sit down on a panel and have a great debate. I mean, there could be a debate if really against even Sabir Bey with the Nation of Islam. Or you see what I'm saying? There's always is different. But here's the thing. What we're doing is, and even myself, being on the panel to speak is remarkable. So what I praise the brother for putting this thing together. But the thing about it is that each and every brother that's speaking brings something to the table for the people to listen to. Get what you can get. And right, because it's all going to be positive. And here's the most important thing I'd like to take away from this next week's event. Everybody who is on the panel to speak, everybody.
Your guest on line one.
Everybody who's on this panel to speak is anti-vaccine. They are anti this government, right? And that's what I love about it, right? So I'm proud to be on the stage with these brothers.
I think we got your brother from Dossie is going to be speaking, and you know, that's Brother Michon Daniels, and I think he's got the shot already.
Oh yeah, well, you know, but anyway, Brother Ptah put a great show together, and I commend him on what he's doing, and I hope Louisville shows out for this, for real.
Absolutely, Brother Ptah, you here on the line with us? Who do we have
yes,
with
I
us?
am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing there, brother?
I'm doing all right, bro. Just wrapping things up with this particular event, and like you were saying, brother, hopefully. I ain't gonna say hopefully people will show up, because why not? You know, the whole thing of it is there's other festivities around the Louisville metro area, which is fine. But at the same time, we need to support all of these events, not just this event. It's not my event, it's my organization's event. And I just perhaps to be the executive director, but it's more of the people's event. So this is for education. All these other events that we go to is fine, but where's the education? Where's the learning? Why wouldn't you want to bring your family to learn about money and finances and wealth? So, you know, the city of Louisville and other people is putting on different shows, which is fine in the historicity of Juneteenth. But I guarantee you, there's no learning. What's going to be the outcome of it? So that's my whole reason of our organization putting together Knowledge Fest, so we can provide a platform for that.
Y'all hear that, folks? Think about it. You can't barbecue for every doggone event, okay? All right, some events we need to go learn, all right? And because here's the thing, we got this freedom, right, that I think a lot of us take for granted. So, you know, we don't need a day off. We don't need you know what, MLK Day. We don't need a day off. We need days on. We need to take those days and in remembrance of the past, go ahead and focus on the future. And I think that's what you're doing with this Knowledge Fest. Am I right?
Well, that is correct. And I had great sponsors. I was waiting for Brother Michon, you know, from God's Lives Matter, but I don't know if he's going to call in or not. But I've had some great sponsors that's really stepped up this year. Hopefully next year, I'm going to say hopefully next year we can get even better sponsors. So we've had several so-called black businesses put in for this particular event and this endeavor to happen. I wish we had more, because of course our organization still owe a couple of $1,000 with this endeavor. But at the same time, it's going to all be paid for, and everything is, you know, everything is paid for basically.
So let me ask you a question. If anybody wants to, you know, donate money, even if they want to buy a ticket and maybe they're not able to go, but they still want to buy a ticket because your tickets aren't that expensive. Can people still? Is there somewhere for them to go purchase a ticket, even if they want to support if they're not going to show up?
Yes, they can either go on to www.meetinc.org. That's MEETINC.org. Or they can go to exclusives. They sell in the Knowledge Fest tickets in Terry's. I think that's the name of Terry's Tees on 34th and Vermont. They sell in Knowledge Fest tickets. You know, the best thing of it is it don't have to, it's not even just it's not with $20 to $25 online. There's nothing else around the city that I can recall that is going to actually leave you with something to think about and something to research. Like you said, we can't keep having barbecues. A lot of people don't even know. And I'm going to challenge the people. When did Juneteenth arrive in Kentucky? When did Kentuckians our ancestors in Kentucky receive the news? Do anybody know that?
Right.
You know, I challenge people to research that. We're celebrating a Texas colloquial holiday that they call it Juneteenth. That's a slang name. So we're celebrating an event in Texas. So, which is fine, but we need to help and identify our culture here in Kentucky. And there's so many influences, like I said before, so many influences that is not from Louisville, that is leading our people from Louisville straight to the wolves. And I just disagree with that whole, you know, disagree with. I'm not gonna call anybody out. They know who they are. But at the same time,
you know, we love calling people out over here.
We'll call them out.
Yeah. If you want, you can text us. We'll call them out.
Well,
we're calling people out.
Hey, Brother Ptah.
Well, we're gonna have food trucks outside. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have performances. We're going to have Styles P from the Locks. It's going to be there. We're going to have Ben X going to be there. We're going to talk about this money. We're going to have a serious talk about nationality. It's going to be on. We're going to have over 30 vendors, maybe 35 vendors that's going to be there. Media is going to be there. It's going to be a lot of people. So we put a lot of our own private alliance partner funding and finances with this particular endeavor. And honestly, we are going to compete with like Expo in Indianapolis and other surrounding cities because Louisville don't have nothing on their own except going on the waterfront, barbecuing, shucking and jiving like we always do. That's all we do is bebop.
Hey,
it's not wrong. I like to party too, but not all the time.
Brother Ptah, let me ask you a question here. This event right here is very, very very wide. I think this is the first time I've ever seen, and I've seen you put events together. But this one here is quite interesting, where you have brought together different brothers from different aspects of knowledge and understanding. And a lot of these brothers in behind closed doors, as you know, will be kind of in debate with each other behind closed doors. But here you pull them together on this one event, on this one issue, man. Tell me about how did you come up with that idea, and how did you get these brothers to be on the same platform, even including myself? How did you do that?
Well, it was challenging, brother. That let me know the people that's on the panel that it's much bigger than their egos, it's much bigger than their ideology. It's for the people. Our intelligence and our message and our gift from a higher power. We must do our mission down here, and we have to work. We have to show the people that we might not agree upon everything, but one thing we do agree upon is our people and of our people in a higher vibration and getting this knowledge out. So that's I don't agree with me and brother John. Yeah, we've had our moments. Me and brother me, Sean, and so forth. We've all had our moments, but at the same time, we come to a medium. And we have Daniel is online too. Okay.
All right. So I believe we have another guest that's here. This is probably another guest.
Is Ptah staying with us?
Yeah. You here for a little bit, Ptah?
I got about another 5 minutes.
Okay.
I was going to wait till if that's the case, call in.
You can introduce your guest here. I believe is it Brother Sabir that we have on the line?
Daniel.
We got Brother Daniels. And Brother Daniels is going to be speaking at the Knowledge Fest. How you doing there, Mishon? Uncle Mishon, how you doing?
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right. We don't have much volume from you there. Are you there?
Well, you have to speak up. Oh, hey, I don't know what's going on. Can y'all hear me now?
It's real
low.
You're pretty low, but where's that deep voice at?
Yeah. How y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, I just want to thank Brother Ptah for allowing me and my organization, God's Lives Matter, and God to be a part of this. You are absolutely right. This brother had vision about bringing everybody together. We definitely, all of us, do not ideologically agree on everything, but the idea that all of us bring knowledge that needs to be shared. And so the only knowledge I'm talking about is to know itself. The knowledge of who actually started ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, who an organization called ADS, American Descendants of Slavery, up the hashtag. And that knowledge that needs to be dropped. And I want to just thank the foresight of Brother Ptah, this young brother, putting it together. And I want to publicly, on the air, acknowledge that this is an up-and-coming leader in this community who got vision. And the word says our people suffer because we don't have vision. And I want to thank Ptah for doing that.
Hey, that is.
Well, I appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you.
Hey, but,
appreciate you.
I got to. I'm gonna make one last announcement if I could. But get the tickets right now for $25. www.FM104.7 FM104.7 Go online. It's going to be a great educational, entertainment event.
Hey, appreciate you, brother Ptah. Appreciate the event. Just love it, man. So appreciate that. We'll catch you next time. Probably catch you next Saturday.
All right, brother. All right, peace.
Peace, brother. Do we have brother Sabir online?
No, sir.
All right. Well, he'll be calling in here shortly. I know he's a little bit under the weather. Do we still have Brother Daniels here?
Yes, you do. What's up?
Hey, Brother Daniels, let me ask you, why don't you explain to the people what DASI means? That's D-A-S-I. What does that stand for?
That stands for Descendants of American Slaves Incorporated. The Descendants of American Slaves Incorporated is from Dr. Noah Schultz. He had the vision from America's Little Black Book to incorporate two organizations, American Slave Inc. and American Descendants of Slaves Incorporated. ASI is a nonprofit and DASI is a for-profit. And so the idea was to get to the economic battlefield, we had to create a for-profit operation in America, so that thing that works specifically only for the good of who we are as people who identify as Negroes, Blacks, and Americans. So we have to get on the economic battlefield. We got to stop whining and asking the government to do something for us. We have to play chess. We have to put our gas on line one. Your gas is on line one.
Thank you, sir.
We have to put ourselves on the economic battlefield, and DASI is that organization.
Got you, Brother Daniels. Man, we appreciate you calling in and joining in on this conversation. And again, we're going to have you on once again before probably next Saturday. We will be, I think we're going to be possibly streaming live at this event. So that's going to be exciting. We'll probably be there in person as well. So that's going to be awesome. Well, I know we're going to be there in person because Brother John is up there speaking as well. So I think I'm up there speaking too. So appreciate you, Brother Daniels. I think we have.
I appreciate you too, man.
All right. We'll catch you next time. Next up, folks, we have Brother Sabir Bey of the Sabir Bey Show on the line with us today. Brother Sabir, how are you doing, family?
Peace. How you brothers doing?
Oh man, we're fantastic. Peace, bro.
All right,
man. So I tell you what, man. I know you're a little bit under the weather, and so I really appreciate you making this call in, man. So what I want to do is just kind of you're going to be here in Louisville at the Knowledge Fest this year, and you're going to be speaking. Give the people, for the people out there that don't know who Sabir Bey is, don't know his background, maybe they want to get a little conscious themselves. Give the people a little synopsis of who you are and what you do and what you stand on with your speaking platform.
Well, I was going to make a joke in a minute, but I said for those that don't know, I said it must be hotly for rock, brother. Anyway, I've been around for. I'm just being real with you, man. I've been around for 25 years, bro. I did radio over 25 years. 5 different radio stations. I also did a documentary. I produced a documentary. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I am bringing a couple of copies with me, Out of Darkness, and we're finishing up the last touches of Heavy as the Crown. And in this documentary, we have, James Smalls, Dr. Tava, that y'all know, Brother Todd Civic Bay, Brother Umar Johnson, who else we got? Claude Anderson, Anthony Browder, Out of Darkness. We had it on Revolt TV for like a whole week. And then we in the process of having it in 60 countries. It is in 60 countries now, and there's 60 languages now. So we have another one coming out called Heavy, and that's why I've been really busy shooting back and forth to Las Vegas, because the brother Amadeus Christ, who put it together. He's from Vegas. Well, he's from Oakland, but he lives in Vegas. And so we did this on top of that, man. I just finished a movie on things. You know him as Dick Red by Heartbeat. We just got done that movie. You know, so I've been just like mad busy, brother. mad busy. And been overseas most of the time.
Brother Sabir, peace. This is Yah, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Listen, I became familiar with you probably maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. I think I spotted you on Sanada television, and I checked you out from there. And I know that you you speak about nationality. Give the people an understanding on what that means when you talk about nationalities from the Moors perspective.
Okay, so nationality internationally is actually deal with your political status and law, period. And I just got back. I stay over in Spain and Morocco and Portuguese a lot, and Tunis, just trying to get the gist of what's going on with other nations. So nationality is basically it's your political status of who you are, period. And that would bring into human rights. And if you ever pay attention, you never hear so-called black people in the United States build on human rights. You never heard them mention that. The only person who spoke about that was who? Malcolm. Right? So nationality actually takes you to that next level to actually get human rights, and so the world can see it. This is why the world has never stepped in with our people here, because we don't have that, and we have it, but we ignore it. And that's what's really going on. We have it, but people ignoring who we are. We try to fight against it. There is no black nation on the planet, nowhere. We only talk about black until we get to the United States. Other people deal with nationality. You can Google it. You can look up human rights in another country. You can look up nationality. And this is why we ask people to pick up law dictionaries. Not because you want to go into law. It's just that you have to know the law, because law and history goes hand in hand. And that's really what's going on. We got to get out of our feelings and just deal with reality.
That's a fact. So in other words, you know, when you talk about nationality, this is something that African Americans, those of us in this country, need to know, because actually we have been labeled by our oppressors, and that's what we call ourselves.
Yes, no doubt. And again, I just massive videos on YouTube and Facebook about it, and I'm like, well, who labeled you black? Who labeled you African American? Where did it come from? How old is? And I was going to do a campaign on what were you called before 1492. You know, and that question needs to be addressed by what were you called before 1492, because it wasn't black, nor was it African American. You know, so at one time we were called Negro. So before Negro, we was what? It was the other word. I don't know if you can say it on here, but you know, and before that word, it was Moor. So you don't have a word over in Spain for black people. It's actually called Negro. There's no word black. If I could say that, black. Right. The word Negro. And that's what it was before it became black. So I joke around and say, well, I can call you an N-word in English and get away with it. Right. Because that's really what they're doing. Because yeah, it's an English word. So what we do is try to correct that. And when Noble Drew Ali came on the scene, I'm not part of a Moor Science Temple. Let me make this clear for everybody. I'm not telling a story. You know, and I just don't read the books. I actually been to these places multiple times and sat with the people about us over here in America. So nationality is very, very important. Very important.
So actually you bring right. So you bring a little bit of a twist to this conversation when we're talking about nationality, opposed to not in so much in alignment with Noble Drew Ali. And I don't know if a lot of people are aware of who Noble Drew Ali is and where he derived from. Huh?
They need to know who this man. They need to know who he is. You know the first documentary I did, I don't know if you're familiar, I was in Hidden Colors office.
Yes.
Then I did an off, you know, we did Out of Darkness, and I came on as the producer of Out of Darkness. But the brother who actually had Hidden Colors, Tariq, he bought Noble Drew Ali's documentary off of me before he started that film. If anybody go to YouTube and punch in Sabir Bey, Noble Drew Ali, Prophet of the People, it will pop up on YouTube. So I remember the day that he bought that documentary off. I was at James Ingram's office to sing it. We was on Wilshire Boulevard. And I was taking one into James Ingram before he rest in peace, James Ingram. And he was the Bey. James Ingram was the Bey. And we in his office, and I remember Tyreek meeting me out downstairs to get the doctor. This was 2 years before Hidden Color came out. See, most people only know Hidden Color. And we say this a lot about why a lot of people don't know about Out of Darkness, because Out of Darkness is not a blaming the white man or white supremacy. We actually go into the solution to the problem. We're hitting the solution to the problem. So you had some people that was in there talking about white supremacy, but it wasn't like
Hey, Ali's brother is on the line, or Ali's brother is on the line.
Peace. You know.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead and finish up.
You know, we didn't talk like that. We were basically going in on the solutions to the problem, and solutions to that problem or the problem. There's many problems. And I tell people this, the one solution to the problem is true knowledge of self. We have many problems. The true knowledge of the solution to poverty and ignorance is true knowledge of self. And that's what we're missing. Because the reality is there's no African Americans, there's no black people on this planet. Nowhere. And I share this with a lot of people when I'm speaking. I'm like, if it was based on our skin color, how many people do you know from other countries that's here that don't get shot down on the street the way we do? Sudan to Nigeria. Just think about how many of these people that you know that's walking around in your city that's from different countries getting gunned down. It's something about us that they know.
Wow.
It's something about us that, because the world is waiting for us to wake up over here. Us. And when Noble Raleigh said, it's for us to uplift fallen humanity. So we have to come and rescue the world. And that's what's happening. But we don't want to have this dialogue. And when most people think that we're speaking about religion, we're not talking about religion. Because I've been in Morocco. You have the Moorish Jews. You have Jews in Morocco. I have a book I'm going to bring to the event called The Moorish Jews from Morocco. You know? So they'll tell you one thing over here, but this is why you have to have boots on the ground in these particular places and not on vacation. You have to sit with these people. I've been to the Atlas Mountains. I sat with the people. They started telling me how this stuff got started. I was like, okay, all right, well, we're not getting this overseas. Wow. You know? So you have to have boots on the ground.
Wow.
You know?
Now we have a caller.
So
we have a caller on the line, real quick,
sure.
Brother Sabir. Just want to see who this is on the line. Who caller? Who is this calling in with us for the Tipping Point Show? Hello.
Am I on here?
You here?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
What's going on there, sir? You've been asking me to come on this show, and I got invited today from my mentor, Mr. Michon Daniels.
All right. Who am I speaking to again?
This is Mr. Ray Ali Muhammad.
Hey, Brother Ali. How you doing there, family?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm family famous. I'm here.
Okay, good. Now we got Brother Sabir Bey that we're doing a interview with. Did you have a question or anything concerning this knowledge fair? Because you've been doing some big promotions for it.
Well, that's basically why I called in. First of all, I want to thank everybody on the show today for the support that you all have been giving us during these times of the promotions coming straight out of COVID. And I mean, the energy just came from the need. Okay. And as men, we understand, as parents, we understand what a need is. So to be able to give the city health, business, wealth, knowledge during these times is giving us the energy that we have to push this thing forward. So we're excited, especially from the intelligent, educated brothers, not black brothers that are coming in with all of this good knowledge and education. Hopefully, Lord was going to soak it up and we're going to move forward.
Absolutely, man. Hey, appreciate you calling in, brother. We're going to have you back on because we need to talk business with you just the same, because you got $1 billion or a billion reasons out there with your T-Mobile connection to have a conversation about the community. So we appreciate you calling in, man.
We do. And just before I go, I just want everybody to know on June 19th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Muhammad Ali Center, we will be hosting the 2021
Knowledge Festival, Juneteenth, with our brother Dr. Boyce Watkins, and we got tons of fun. We got a red carpet going on from 12 to 3. We got celebrities coming in. After that, we go to Chef's Bay, and then after that, we got a concert. So we just hope everybody comes out. Everybody have some good, clean fun. We coming right out. There's the Ali Festival, and we just go flow June right on into July and everything else we got going on.
There you go. Appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you once again.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you. And don't forget to call me because we need to talk.
Absolutely. All right now.
All right.
Hey, brother Sabir.
Brother Sabir. What's going on? I was just laughing, man. I'm laughing in my head because he said red carpet. I live in LA and I don't even do a red carpet, but I'm with most of the people out there. I feel people to hype, but I just was laughing, bro.
Hey, man, it's all good, man. We got some exciting people.
You know, the red carpet.
Brother Sabir, let me ask you a few good panel. Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you about the panel. You know, have you ever been a part of such a diverse group of individuals speaking from the knowledge they're speaking from? Because I know every one of us have a different set or a different ideology. Have you ever came to that? Because a lot of times, you know, brothers like yourself, you can sit in the back room and have debates with the brothers that are coming on. Instead, it's not a debate. This is about really what can we do, and everyone brings a different piece of the element to our solutions. What do you think of the panel that's being pulled together?
I mean, it's cool, but we got to get down to really what's the solution to the problem. You know, I've done one with James Smalls, Dr. Kaba, Brother Todd. We did it in Brooklyn, New York. The sister put it together in New York. So imagine that panel of us all together with Dr. Kaba. Y'all know it, Booker T. Yes, James Smalls. We did that in New York one time. This is about a couple of years ago. Actually, I was in Louisville. Karis, one of us did it in Louisville. We was there. I think it was the first Knowledge Fest, I believe. We were there. You know, Karis, one was on the panel. Pastor Bay, Abdullah Bay. We had a diverse. You know, so something like this, no, I haven't. You know, because I really, honestly, brother, I try to stay away from a lot of it because it's about teaching. You know what I mean? Because I don't get into the argument. I just, the information up here, this is what it is. Let's keep it pushing. Y'all do your research. Because it's not even about the panel, it's about the people. But we talk about the people and let the people let the people research this information for themselves, because I've been in this for a very long time and I've seen a lot of hypocrisy in it. And I'm going to keep it above. So I just stay away from it. I don't even want to be a part of it. Do what I do. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You have to present your facts. And the one thing my homie said, that Boomy is like Yasin's mother. She adopted me. That's my mom. She said, just give the people the facts. That's all we got to do. Don't argue with nobody. Give them the facts. If they want it, they want it. They get it. They get it. They don't. You know, so it's a lot to this, brother. And again, I respect everybody on the panel. I've known Blue Pill, Red Pill probably the longest. We known each other over 20 years. Yes. You know, they remember my son was a baby. My son recently got killed in Philly in August. So they remember my son.
Sorry to hear that,
he was probably 3 years old. Right? Yeah, he was 22. So I used to drag him back and forth to New York. He was 3 or 4 years old. So we used to go up and down New York from Philly. But I live in LA now. But I just want to be something, though. It's going to be experience.
Yeah, I've seen you embrace Professor Smalls, and I find that anybody that can sit down in a room with him and want to, and you know, you got to be open-minded when you sit down with Professor Smalls. And I don't know a lot of people in Louisville as aware of who he is, but he goes way back. He's definitely a scholar in this region of we're talking about consciousness. But when I saw that, you know, ain't too many more can sit down with that brother, and I know that for a fact. They can sit down with Professor Smalls, you know. So when I saw you sit down with him, I said, yeah, this brother's a little open here.
Yeah, let me tell you about Smalls. I was in London. No lie, I called Smalls from London. I saw his picture in London, right? I was like, yo, that's you know. So I'm on the phone with Smalls from London, you know, and I'm like, how we don't know who he is over here? He recently came on my Instagram. I don't know if you have my Instagram, Real Sabir Bay. And he comes on because he listens. And he told me, he said, I'm learning right now. And that's one elder I respect so much, because he said, I grew up I think he said his grandfather, father, somebody was in the Moorish movement, but he didn't get it this way. This is what he was telling me. So he would always say, yo, just keep going. He said, I'm learning. I mean, last week he came on the Instagram. It's like, I'm learning. This is some new stuff. I didn't know it. I didn't hear it this way. Because most people, like, hear of the Moors, they think it's a religion. But it's not. Like I said, it's not that. It's deeper than what people think. It's only religion because it's here in the United States. That's what they're telling y'all. But when I went up to Morocco, on my passport, my bay is on it, so I'm going through Morocco. They asking me, where's my father from? And I was like, what do you mean, where my father from? Not knowing that my brother from Tunis did the reason why they asked me so they could protect me to make sure I was good, because they didn't know who I was. Because in Islam, they don't use the bays, they use Muhammad now. Most people use Muhammad in Islam. They don't use the bays, so the bays are working for Muhammad. So it's a lot of history that needs to be corrected, brother.
Correct.
A lot.
Yeah, I
didn't even know that he said.
Right. Yeah, I'm aware of the Bay came before Muhammad. In fact, that was specifically derived out of the Kemet understanding, where Muhammad actually comes from the Arab philosophy.
Yeah. Well, the so-called Arab. We are the original.
Correct.
Arab are us. So that's not. I don't give these people no credit for none of that. That's right. There's a book called The True Arabs, or Who the True Arabs Are, something like that. I'm not home right now, but I'm trying to picture it at the top of my head. But I won't be home until next week. Back in LA. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff need to be correct, brother. And the more I'm digging into this information and really studying Carter G. Woodson and J.A. Rogers, their work is insane, seriously. And when it is, the intellectual will look at it and they ignore it. They want to ignore it. Because Carter G. Woodson said that in one of his books, The Study of the Negro. He said the scholars will look at this information and take bits and pieces from this information and just use it, take out parts that fit them. That's not what I do. I don't take out parts that fit me. Because I heard people say, well, he's being biased. I'm not biased to nobody. If anybody knows me personally, I'm not, but I'm going to speak my mind, period. That's how I am. I was born for this, to speak my mind, So Carter G. Woodson was pulling pieces out and using it. This is like the black thing. You want to hold on to it. One of my scholars told me that there's no value in knowing about my enslavement. So there's no value in it. A lot of people suffer slavery. And matter of fact, slavery ended in 1940 in Ethiopia. In 40. And you don't hear no Ethiopian right here that's darker than dark complaining about slavery. Again, it's a trauma cup day. That's what's going on. We're drinking out this trauma cup that, they did us more dirty. No, we did them dirty. If we are the mothers and fathers of everybody, who started it all? We did. So who has to fix it? We did. Now we got to fix it.
Definitely agree with the idea that we have to be the ones to fix it. And when I think about this conversation, one of the questions that always pops up in my mind, John, you've proposed this before as to why, when slavery, quote unquote, ended, did we not turn around and say, okay, let's build some boats and let's go on back to Africa, right? And in my mind, I'm thinking, maybe we were just too Americanized at that point to even think, our culture was stripped from us too much to where we were just focused on trying to be like what we grew up seeing for those 400 years. I mean, what do y'all think? That's a loaded question.
That could be true. Are you familiar with Frantz Fanon?
Frantz Fanon. I am not. Go ahead and educate us.
Okay. So it did, and if anybody's in the studio, you can look online right now. Something Sabir Bey and Tommy Davidson. Sabir Bey and Tommy Davidson on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. Tommy Davidson turned me on to this years ago. I didn't know anything about Frantz Fanon. And what he said is the oppressor will oppress the oppressed for so long that the oppressed started oppressing themselves. He was a psychologist, Frantz Fanon. His book did not come to the United States until 1957. And when I went to France, and I stayed in Toulouse, and I stayed in Marseille. These are the things I was doing, not just reading books. I'm literally going there. So I'm taking Frantz Fanon's book with me, and then I'm talking with the people over there. And when you look up Frantz Fanon, He will actually, he has a couple of books: Black Skin, White Man, Wretched of the Earth, Colonization. I think that's one of them. He has 4, 5, 6, 7 books of his essays. And one of his books talks about the colonized mindset. And I said, well, maybe that's what it is. And it's like now, we are comfortable. So they will oppress us so much that we start oppressing ourselves. When you read Frantz Fanon's book, how was this man's book hidden from us until 1957? And where are the scholars or the psychologists bringing this man up? You know, he was the one that got the institution open up that you can walk through, you know, and look at the people. And nobody knows that. So I'm looking at our people and say, well, maybe a lot of us is caught up in it. We can say we're not colonized, but we do have the colonized mind. We do. We dress like him. We speak like them. He speaks about the inferiority of our people also. And he speaks about the inferiority of the inferiority of the Negro, right? And he talks about the language, the way we speak, the way we dress, the way we, you know, he goes to this whole skill. I say white supremacy is a theory, it's not a fact. That's what I say, it's not. Because I can ask every last one of y'all on this feed, do you feel inferior to anyone? And what would be the answer? That's a fact. Do you feel inferior to anybody?
No, sir.
Right? You would say no. Okay, so it's not that then. It must be what? Institutionalized. You know what I'm saying? It was something that was taught to you. So when you look at that, and this is why I said stuff like this sells, even you got the so-called black conscious community, we're talking about white supremacy, police brutality. This is their topic. So it's not police brutality. It's called domestic terrorism. You see, you got to change the words because domestic terrorism, take it somewhere else. You're violating somebody's human rights now. Black scholars or black leaders can only lean towards that because that's what's being taught to them on television. Again, I've been in radio for over 20 years. I've sat with people. I'm sitting with you and I'm listening because you have to know more than your audience on radio. You have to know more than your audience. So not just getting it from someone else by going and either you're going to read the book or you're going to spend hours in the library or you're going to take trips overseas, not for vacation, or for research. And then you start coming back and you start seeing all this stuff unfold. This is why I said majority of the people, I can already see myself there, is going to say exactly what I'm telling y'all right now. It's either going to be white supremacy, police brutality. That's going to be the lineup. Nobody's going to talk about nationality like that. We should be having that conversation daily. What we called before 1492. How do we charge these police officers in the system for genocide? Because it's really domestic terrorism when you look it up. Title 18. And all of this, when you read Frantz Fanon's book, he speaks about those things in his book.
Hey,
all of it.
Brother Sabir, I tell you what, man, you are dropping nothing but nuggets after nuggets. And I definitely want to make sure that everybody knows they need to step out to the Knowledge Fest this June 19th,
yes.
This Juneteenth. Again, that's meetinc.org, right? MEETINC.org. Go ahead and get your tickets. Real quick, before you go, I want to say a quick shout out to Health Daddy Wow, healthdaddywow.net. This brother Frank Stoner, shout out to you. You always watching and chipping in with the show, brother. Healthdaddywow.net, home of the 100% plant-based vitamins, herbs, cleanses, and teas. They are here to help you live longer, feel better, and look great. Again, healthdaddywow.net. You also have a BB Toomey trading company, the home of Saya Baba and Soap Sticks products. They are in over 400 locations at a store near you. You can also find them at sayababa.com. That's SYABABA.com. Owned by yours truly, Brother John Yah, right here on the Tipping Point Morning Show. Now, Jerry, don't sign us out just yet. I just want to say thank you once again, Brother Sabir, for calling in. I'm also trying to get you a link to see if you want to come on video with us, because we extend this show for a little bit after. We have a little more open conversation, and we're not governed by the FTC, so we can talk how we want to talk. But I'm trying to get that. I sent that link out to Brother Ptah, and if you'd like to come on afterwards here, then that link is sent to you. So he should be texting you here shortly with that link. That would be great to have you on this conversation. Absolutely. We can continue the conversation. Well, once again, folks, it is another week, another episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. We are signing out. We'll see you next week. Again, we're going to have more guests for the June 19th event, or the Juneteenth Knowledge Fest 21, right here on the Tipping Point Morning Show. All right, we are signing out. Peace, brothers. All right. Give me 1 second here. Right. Oh man, brother.
Yes, sir.
Man, that was fantastic. You know what? I want to say something real quick. All right, you know, that was absolutely awesome. And let me have my little fun. We starting the second half of the show here. So bada bing, bada bing.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
I love it, man. I love playing that every single time. Just freaking love it. I'm gonna try to see. I don't know if this is let me see here. I'm gonna try to see if I can shoot. I don't know if your boy Ptah, I know he's at work right now, so we're gonna see if we can try to get this link out to Brother Sabir here ourselves. Let's see here. But man, what'd you think about the show, man?
Oh man, awesome, man, awesome. Great information. I think this event that's coming up is going to be powerful. Even learning about all the vendors that's going to come out, man. This is going to be a powerful build. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Just something that we can build with, you know, because that's what we needed. We need to build. We need to learn how to build amongst each other and with each other. I think this is, again, something that's very powerful because here you got different brothers from different theologies and different backgrounds. And so to sit down and have this conversation, this is what building is about. We need to quit having this mentality just because we don't agree, we can't work together. Just because we don't have a 400% agreement on something. We always seem to have the same issue, the same goals we're trying to accomplish, and that mainly is waking people up. You know, I think everybody that's coming up is really about waking people up, and I think that's very important.
Hey, I tell you what, man. Do me a favor, check your text message real quick, and just take a look at that, and let's get an agreement on that real quick. But you know, it's interesting because you know I think about this, and I think a lot of this stuff really, you know, from my perspective, man, derives around common sense. I think you know a lot of this stuff. Common sense should tell you that, you know, if you've been waiting for hundreds of years for somebody else to come and do something for you and it ain't been done yet, you should probably be focusing on doing it for yourself, right? You know, it seems like everybody should wake up and say, you know, that is what should be. Now, I'm gonna read this. This is an obituary that supposedly was printed in the London Times many years ago. But it says, today we mourn the passing of a beloved old friend, Common Sense, who has been with us for many years. No one knows for sure how old he was, since his birth records were long ago lost in bureaucratic red tape. He will be remembered as having cultivated such valuable lessons as knowing when to come in from out the rain, why the early bird gets the worm. Life isn't always fair, and maybe it wasn't my fault. Common Sense lived by simple, sound financial policies. Don't spend more than you can earn, and reliable strategies. Adults, not children, are in charge. His health began to deteriorate rapidly when well-intentioned but overbearing regulations were set in place. Reports of a 6-year-old boy charged with sexual harassment for kissing a classmate, teens suspended from school for using mouthwash after lunch, and a teacher fired for reprimanding an unruly student only worsened his condition. Common sense lost ground when parents attacked teachers for doing the job that they themselves had failed to do in disciplining their unruly children. It declined even further when schools were required to get parental consent to administer sun lotion or an aspirin to a student, but could not inform parents when a student became pregnant and wanted to have an abortion. Common sense lost the will to live as the churches became businesses and criminals received better treatment than their victims. Common sense took a beating when you couldn't defend yourself from a burglar in your own home and the burglar could sue you for assault. Common sense finally gave up the will to live after a woman failed to realize that a steaming cup of hot coffee was hot. She spilled a little in her lap and was promptly awarded a huge settlement. You know, that's that McDonald's thing right there. McDonald's had to pay out because that coffee was hot. Common sense was preceded in death by his parents, truth and trust, by his wife, discretion, by his daughter, responsibility, and by his son, reason. He is survived by his 4 stepbrothers. I know my rights. I want it now. Someone else is to blame. I'm a victim. Not many attended his funeral because so few realized he was gone. If you still remember him, pass this on. If not, join the majority and do nothing. That is an obituary to the death of common sense. You know, it's quite amazing that you know, people don't think about the idea that, hey, maybe I should be demanding more when it comes to deciding I'm going to take this covert shot. Maybe I should be demanding more information because I don't really know what's in it. I've never had a conversation with a person who is pro-vaccine that made sense. You know, I've never heard them stand on anything. I mean, as soon as anybody mentioned anything in any of the conversations we've had with people, I can go right somewhere, pull up some information and validate the fact. You know, we had someone talking about, you know, asthma and how their family was in the medical profession growing up, and they tried everything on them to cure them of that asthma. But you know what they didn't mention, John?
What's that?
They didn't mention dietary changes.
No, at all.
Yet asthma has everything to do with mucus in the airwaves.
Exactly.
So the only thing one would really truly have to do is focus on removing mucus from the airwaves to help rid the body of asthma. I mean, common sense, right?
Common sense. No, I've always said in this country, we have been dumbed down on so many levels to where, and I'm gonna say it bluntly, of something that I've always said. See, the white man ain't that intelligent. It's that we're falling so low, we're stupid because he's not that intelligent. So and therefore, we can achieve anything we want to achieve, but because he has the ability to trigger a stress hormone in us that causes us to have fear, is the reason why we lose common sense. This whole COVID thing is about fear. It's not about nothing that's about saving humanity. It's about putting fear on you. And I think here's what's interesting, and I find something you and I was talking about the other day. And I find this to be sort of an oxymoron. When you on one hand hold the fist up, in one hand you hold the fist up to scream black power, and then the other hand you're willing to give them your arm of the same people you are fighting against. And I think that becomes something that's dangerous to us. And you think about this, it's almost like someone trading us in.
Man, you know, someone sold us out.
Sold us out. So, on the other hand, one hand going Black Power, we should be struggling, we should be building our own, we should be doing our own, and then the other hand saying, here, give us a shot. So you one hand you're doing this, the other, or you're giving them your arm. I find that interesting without any research and just believing the person, believing in the oppressor that got you in this condition for so many years, that all of a sudden he'll say one thing and you believe it. And this is what I mean that people fail to recognize is the fear. Man, when you have fear, you can't think straight. And there's where the common sense goes out the door, because they created the fear hormone in us. And this fear creates cortisone, a chemical that makes us to where we're not thinking straight. Think about this. Have you ever made a sound decision under fear? You can't make a sound decision under fear. It's impossible to make a sound decision behind fear. It's just that simple. So I think that's where the common sense leaves. The common sense leaves us.
Man, you know, hey, welcome, Uncle Michon, conservative Uncle Michon, to the show. I know you want to talk about everything coming up when it comes to this this event. But you know, what do you think about the ideology of common sense being thrown out the window these days?
Hey, thank you for having me to the show. And I heard you say something, so I'm just going to, you know, I'm a retired military guy who, my mother put me in the military because I didn't have a functioning father, or I didn't have a functioning family, and she didn't have no. Her common sense was that she was placing her baby into a system that she had no idea how it worked. She just knew that the system. She just knew where her baby was at 18 years old. It wasn't working, and so my mother, you know, she didn't have no common sense. She was just ignorant as hell about it, and she put her baby, her oldest son, in this white man system at 18 years old. And thank God, for 21 years, the ignorance of my mother, you know, she didn't have the common sense, didn't know everything about the system, didn't have all the ideology, every idea. She couldn't intelligently explain why, you know, she put her baby in the white man system called the U.S. Army, but she did. And, you know, thank God she had the faith and the belief to say that my baby needed to get away from Miami, Florida, and place him somewhere else to get him quarantined, shielded, and removed from the bullcrap that he was born into. And I today just want to acknowledge that. Thank you, Mother, for not having common sense. You didn't have the knowledge. You didn't have no idea. You couldn't actually give an intelligent explanation why you put your son in the military, but you did it in faith, and you did it because you knew where you were, and you knew that your baby needed something different. So I just want to, you know, preference that and say, I'm calling in from my mother, ignorant, not having all the facts, but she had faith, and she put her baby in the military, and I am today blessed from that. So I just wanted to preference that for saying that, because I know I'm calling in a show that y'all operate from just total, you know, having common sense and having all the facts, and I'm just a man that come from a position that I just came from a mother who had faith. So I'm not as intelligent as you are, and I don't have all the knowledge. But you know, I'm just having a lot of faith, and my faith has gotten me here. And that's
okay. You're getting a little choppy over there, conservative Uncle Michon. But with that being said, you know,
I'm driving.
what is Darcy and God Lives Matter? What's the conversation that they're going to bring to the Knowledge Fest next Saturday?
Well, again, I want to thank Brother El Batard for allowing us to be there. The whole conversation that we're bringing, that we're coming to talk about ADOS and ADS. ADOS, everybody know, is American Descendants of Slavery with Yvette Cornell, Anthony Moore, and a local pastor. They seem like they were the ones that brought it. And we're going to correct the history. Since this is a Knowledge Fest, we want to correct that history, okay, and let everybody know that actually in all actuality, the concept came from Mr. Noah Shorten, Dr. Noah Shorten. And so we're going to drop that and educate people on that knowledge. And we're going to have books. We're going to have websites. We're going to have products. We're going to give you stuff that remind you of it and everything. So it's going to be just a time of education and reflection of who we are. Are we Negro? Are we Black? Or are we American descendants of slaves?
Or I think another question is going to come to play in this Knowledge Fest is, are we Moors? You know, that's going to be, because we have some Moors in the house as well. So that's going to be another conversation also.
Yeah. I am appreciative to be in the space of all of them. You know, when I was a little youngster at 18 years old, and when I originally started, didn't know anything from anything, I admit, I remember hearing about the Moors. I remember hearing about the Black consciousness. I remember hearing about the Nation of Islam. I remember hearing about the religious community. And when you're a child, don't know much anything. I was in the military. So I remember as I met each one of them, I met them in my ignorance, and I remember being inferior to all of them. Oh, man, they would have punked that. Each one of those punked me out, man. I mean, I didn't have nothing to say. I mean, all I could do was just, listen to them because they were so much, heavy and deep in it. But, now that I'm 60 years old, okay, and I have witnessed the same thing they've been saying when I first was a little shorty, didn't know much of anything, okay, and now I have grown in the wisdom of who I am today. Guess what I found out? They don't punk me out anymore. I'm no longer inferior, but they still talking the same thing. But I'm a married man. I produce successful children. I have a net worth over $250,000. I have a stability and everything. I bought a home, and I have navigated in the very system that I hear them constantly crying about. So, I'm no longer inferior, and I'm no longer scared, and I'm no longer afraid to have a conversation with them. So, hey, I'm looking forward to this opportunity to sit at the same table and talk about it.
Well, hey, brother, that is awesome. And I tell you what, it's always great to hear your point of view on the show. And I can't wait till next week when we can see it all play out next Saturday.
Hey, again, I want to thank you, the Tipper Show, and John Yah. John Yah coming in, he's going to be based on artillery. John Yah, is going to come on before us, and then we're going to have a little comedy act, and then Darcy and God's Lives Matter are going to come on before the speaker, Dr. Boyce Watkins. So we're asking everybody to show up definitely between 12 and 3, because that's when the Darcy and God's Lives Matter going to give our break, and then Dr. Boyce Watkins come on after that. So we definitely, if you want to come out and hear what's going to be happening, what's going on, we really want you to come out and see the whole event, but make sure you come early. Stop that black mentality. Show up, at the last minute. Come early. Be there. Be in the house.
All right, brother. Appreciate having you on the show, man. Thanks for coming in with your point of view and letting us know how Darcy and God's Lives Matter stands for this year's Knowledge Fest. Appreciate that.
Take care. Have a blessed one.
All right, brother. All right, brother Yah, are you still with me there?
I'm still here with you.
I know you went back there and did some jumping jacks, push-ups, and you know, did some jogging and a little workout at the same time. I appreciate you hanging in there. You know, what do you think about this comment right here? You know, Layla, the educator Hampton. Remember, we've had her on the show, and she does homeschooling. She said, not trying to step on toes or cause division. However, got to speak truth to power. No longer will I partake in those lies and traditions. Proclamation 95 did not free the slaves. It was a call by the commander-in-chief of the U.S. AK trade union to end existing public upheavals and rivals over a labor dispute, long hours with little to no pay, gradually transforming laborers into prisoners of war when our indigenous ancestors realized they were basically being duped, used to create and establish. The comment didn't finish, but hopefully we can find the comment somewhere. But you know, that's an interesting take. What do you think on that?
Interesting. Layla's always going to bring a curveball, so she's absolutely right in that subject matter. Again, I think the information that's out there is very important. A lot of us are unaware of this information. No different than a lot of information wasn't out there for us to understand about when slavery ended and what does June 19th or Juneteenth really stand for. So yes, no doubt, we are constantly learning new things as we open our minds up and consider. I mean, look at June 19th now. Look at Juneteenth has done grown tremendously in the last couple of years, right? I mean, now we got events all over the country now where people are holding events, which is great.
Well, you know, and it is great, but you know, I'm always perplexed with the idea of getting caught in trying to figure out who's right. You know, that's the part that really kind of bugs me. Is it's like we spend so much time trying to figure out who's right. Right. But you know, I'm always perplexed with the. Man, I was sitting there trying to figure out who is that copying off the things that I'm saying. But you know, I'm perplexed with that thought, because I don't really, in a sense, I don't really care who's right. You know, I mean, am I wrong for that? Should I? Because it doesn't affect my daily life as to whether or not we were Moors, whether or not we are, you know, American descendants of slaves, whether or not we're Black, African, whatever. You know, when I walk into any space, I'm Joe Tapper, and that's it. You know, and you're gonna respect me for who I am. You know, I don't care what my hair looks like, because guess what? As soon as I open my mouth, you're gonna understand that I am not whatever predisposed notion you have as I walk through the door, whether I have a suit on or whether I have tennis shoes on, you know. So for me, it doesn't affect how I move forward, because all I know is that there's bills, I got to pay them, and I need to make above and beyond those bills in order for me to be able to live a better life and provide a better life, to be able to do things with my kids, family, this, that, and the other. So that's always the goal and the objective, to live, to financially gross or net well above my bills. You know, I need to put money in savings. There's business opportunities out here that I want to be a part of, you know. So I need to stack money. I need to focus on those opportunities. None of that has anything to do with whether or not I was a Moor. You know, all I know is in the 1800s, 3 sibling brothers from I think Scotland or Ireland or something, went to Jamaica, and they fell in love with African women. And they pretty much made love to every one of them they saw. And because of that, I have an extremely large Jamaican family that spans from here in the States to all over Jamaica to London, England, the UK, even Scandinavia. When I was 13, one of my family members sent out a newsletter, and at 13 years old, that was about 3,000 in count then. And so now, because of Facebook and everything else, family's been able to reach out and touch more people and find brothers and sisters in places they didn't even know they had. So that's all I know. And, that doesn't affect me getting up, going out and making money, which with what I do on a day-to-day basis, along with educating myself, that is probably one of the most important things that I do on a day-to-day basis is get out here and, create finances. So, am I wrong for feeling like it doesn't matter whether I was a Moor or African American? Am I wrong for that?
Well, here's my take. And my take is very interesting that I think that I pulled from. I've been around this information for some time. What we're having is what is called an identity crisis. So we're going through exactly an identity crisis to try to find a way to identify ourselves so that we can see where we fit in. Now to understand this, if you want to understand on the physical plane, which means in this dimension, where you come from and how you got here, and what part of the country you come from, whether you are African, whether you are in what part of Africa, whether you are a native of America, whatever you want to claim, it's only attached to our ego self, right? Because if you attach it, what happens is you say, okay, I'm a Moor. You study everything about being a Moor, and every time you hear that concept Moor, you feel happy and glad and proud. If you are a Muslim and you claim that concept, you claim a Christian concept, you claim African American, you claim African. Whatever it is you are attaching yourself to, every time you hear it, you resonate it. But this is where I stand, and this is my point of view. All these things are programs. All they are is programs, right? And you can pick any program that you want. The question becomes, who designed the damn program? Whoever designed the program, there's a people out here that control the knob to the program. Let me give you an example. If you claim to be a Moor and you hear some things that happen to Moors, that tunes you in and you're going to be excited. It's going to affect you emotionally, either happy or sad, right? So somebody's controlling the program. And then every time somebody changes the dial, it affects your emotions, whether you're happy about it or sad about it. So I came to the understanding when I realized these jumping cables that can be put on people. I spent over 20 something years being a Muslim. I became an imam. I've Ramadan through the full calendar of Ramadan, which takes 24 years to complete. And I've learned something out of that whole process, that wait a minute, there is nothing more worthy to study than myself. And what do I mean by that? I mean biology self. I don't mean physical. I don't mean the outside, this label thing that I'm trying to find. I mean my biology self. And here's what I studied when I started studying neuroscience. It's very interesting about neuroscience. Every 20 minutes, you have several billions of new cells in your body. And these cells are membranes, right? And they become attached to your emotions. So whatever you think for those 20 minutes, those new cells think what you think. They don't know any better, because why? You're getting new cells, and your new cells, old cells are dying, new cells are coming in, old cells are dying. You have a billion transfer. And listen to this. In 9 or 10 years, you have a whole new body cell-wise. Your bones are new. Every part of your blood is new, right? So when you said, what does it matter? Here's all I need to know is one thing. Is when I started seeing myself as a spiritual being having a human experience. It didn't matter what name you call me. What mattered is, what did I think of myself? And the way I think of myself is a God, not attached to no one's identity, which means that if I am capable to unlock in the universe, at the end of the day, what in the hell can you tell me about my identity if it's not giving me the key to unlock that universe? All I want to know is, how do I unlock that universe? And you can learn that through biology of your cells, because your cells are connected to the whole universe. So when you put me in that box, you're putting me in a box that make me separate from the universe. Well, the universe is up there, but I'm not the universe. The universe is in me, right? And I live that life, and I have the ability to achieve whatever it is I want to achieve without being triggered with the person who owns the box. I don't care what box you claim. You want to be a Muslim, Moor, African American descendant, that's a fucking box. And those who created the box control your ass, because let them say something about your ass. Let them say something about your identity that you claim, and watch you have a feeling of sad or mad or happiness about it. Let them say some shit that's going to make you dislike them or the statement, right? That's going to draw you up inside yourself emotionally. And these are those that control the box. So whatever box you claim, whatever box you claim you are in, that's all you got is that box. And that box is not going to unlock. It is not going to unlock the you. I ask anyone, you a Muslim, Moor, I don't care what you are. At the end of the day, tell me the keys. Give me the keys to unlock the universe so I can live the life I want, so I can gain the wealth. I can establish wealth while this wealth transfer is going on. I can get wealth and leave it here for my family's family, generations and generations, so that I can exist biologically through my genes, through what my loins, through what I created, so I can exist constantly on this planet. That's what it's really about.
You know that you said a lot there. You said a mouthful, and it's interesting. You know, I mean, first thought was, okay, we got to change up the slang a little bit. No longer do people say what set you from. You got to say, what box you from, Doc? What box you from, homie? What box you with?
What box you claim, brother? Because that's all I hear. I hear a damn box. I don't care what you claim. It's a damn box. And that's all.
You know, one thing I will credit you know, conservative Uncle Me Sean for saying, you know, and I remember I posted one time, we were having a conversation, but said I am outside the box. You know what I mean? And so with that in mind, you know, it goes in line with what you're saying about being outside the box, in the sense that, hey, you know, I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and here's what I'm doing. I'm creating wealth. I'm passing this down to generations. As my kids and kids live, I'm living through them, you know, and it's interesting when you think about that, because that should be more the thought than anything else, you know. And people might shun you for saying, oh, wealth. Oh, you're building wealth, but I thought you was Black Power, but you're building wealth. You know what I mean? Because those two almost don't go together. Nowadays, we're starting to get to that understanding. And you know, I feel bad for the brother Ice Cube and how he was kind of beat up on.
Wasn't it?
When he was doing what he was doing, because, you know, all he was saying, he said, you know, we put dignity before money. Now it's time to put money and dignity on the same level and focus on them both. You know, and this conversation that is going to be brought forth with the Knowledge Fest is going to be focused around, hey, how you can focus on being Black Power, but also being wealthy. You got to participate in this monopoly board. I don't own the board, but in order for me and others to move forward that are connected to me, I've got to participate in this monopoly board. You know, so I've got to sit here and I've got to focus on, you know, are we going to continually be sitting in the hood for the next however many years, generation to generation? Because I know some people, bro, and I tell you, it is a sight to see.
And they all keep it black.
Yeah, you know, and you know, their cousins, their grandmama, their mama, their sisters, their brothers, everybody's in the same hood. Like, man, I done known you for years and you ain't stepped out the hood. You know, what is it that keeps a person just, I mean, you got to be attracted to that, you know, because if you're unattracted to that, you know, when we're unattracted to things, we get away from it. We push it away. But how can a person become attracted to that and want to stay in the midst of that? I'm attracted to being able to see new things, to open my eyes, and you know, I like going to nice places. If I'm gonna go to a restaurant, I'm gonna go to a nice restaurant because I get to see things. There's decor that's beautiful. The way they put together, the way a chef puts together something on my plate, it's beautiful, you know. But I can't get that at, you know, the average spot, you know. And being a chef, I'm not gonna go somewhere where they're gonna do something that I could do at my house.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna go somewhere where I'm gonna be overly excited when I leave. Like, man, that was an experience. You know, but it seems like a lot of us have this mindset where we don't care about that. We're not looking to fill ourselves with new experiences, and that's what it boils down to. You know,
no, because we are attached to the information that we gravitate to. Now, I don't care what you claim you are. If you claim it, it's attached to your emotions. And see, I became unattached to the color of this skin. And I learned this in business, that it's deeper. It's beneath the skin of who I am, not the color. If you're stuck on this, then this is where you are stuck. And so I don't identify with what they call me based on the color of this right here. And this is where individuals get stuck. So I don't call myself black. I don't call myself African American. I don't call myself none of those. If you hear me use that term, I'm talking to someone that is on a lower level frequency, and that's the only thing they can understand, because ain't too many people can understand this concept that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Why? Because it's not in a labeled box that was given to you by somebody else. So it's hard for people to digest the understanding. I get that, but that's what
we look for. We look for labeled boxes,
right? And so, what's more important is how you can move forward in your life. I have to say is this: you have to elevate who you think you are. I don't care what it is. You have to elevate it higher than that. Can you make a claim high? I don't care what you claim yourself to be. Give me a name, throw it out there, and I'm going to ask you. Can you elevate? Can you bring to a higher frequency than that? The highest frequency that I can describe myself to you, for people can understand, was to call myself a God. Because you won't understand I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. You're still going to try to slide it in some type of box. But if I tell you I'm a God, what category can you put that in? The only thing you can say is, oh, you're not a God. No, I'm not your God. I am my God. And when you raise that elevation of who you think you are, the universe opens up to you. So you can only go so far than how you claim yourself. If you're a Muslim, you can't go no farther than the evidence or the doctrines that the Muslims gave you. If you're a Christian, you can't go no farther than what the doctrine that the Christians gave you. I don't care what you name, there's a book behind it that describes your limit liability of as far as you can go. And that's it. When you think you are, the universe opens up and said, I'm going to give you whatever you want.
You know, my parents, I grew up in a very religious Christian household. When I was younger, you know, we had to sneak off to listen to secular music and everything like that, right? We was in church on Wednesday, Sunday, and whatever other events the church was having, you know, we damn near slept at the church, right? And my dad had a spiritual awakening, right? Especially, and I saw it happen at different levels, right? He had spiritual awakenings. And when it comes to that, it's interesting because, I mean, even especially when my mom died. When my mom died, I saw another level that he went up in his spirituality, because he started to realize, he said, you know, I don't believe in prayer. He said, because if prayer worked, then mom would still be alive. You know, but you know, he said, I don't believe in prayer. I believe in meditation, but I don't believe in sitting down and praying for things, you know, as opposed to speaking and thinking things into existence, so much so that you believe it. And that's the understanding that I've come to in life. And you and I were having this conversation the other day, but speaking and thinking things into existence, man, that is more so. I mean, I've seen it. I've been able to show it to other people, and they see it. And, you know, it's so much so to the point to where I'm so guarded. You know, when I wake up in the morning, man, I have certain things that I listen to all the time because I'm so guarded of what goes in my mind in the morning. I mean, I just, once again, because these doggone cell phones, man, you hit the update button and things that you done killed comes back. But, you know, I seen something about some 15 shooting deaths or something, came across my cell phone, and I immediately went to the settings and killed those notifications from that app, because I don't listen. I'm sorry some people died, but I don't care. It does not affect me right now. You know what I need to be doing in the morning? I need to be affirming things.
There you go.
I need to be affirming things, speaking enlightened things to myself, to my mind, so that my day can move in that direction. So I wake up in the morning, I listen to certain things, certain music, certain vibrations, certain sounds, certain words, because it's through that my day moves in those enlightened directions. And I've found that the ability to speak, people don't really, and with everything that you're saying, people still have to have the understanding that this world is a freaking matrix. So to understand the box and the labels, you have to understand that this world is a matrix. All right. So we have labels with everything. All right. Everything's freaking labeled. The reason why people cut the stems off strawberries is because of a label. Someone told you that that's the way it's supposed to be done. Yet there's more vitamin C, there's more fiber, you know, there's more calcium in the stem itself than the meat of the strawberry, right? But people cut it off because the program told you that that's what you're supposed to do, versus rinsing off that leafy green and enjoying it with the rest of the fruit. The program told you otherwise. So, and people don't understand that. They really don't. Even people who try to be enlightened and try to say, yeah, you know, I'm speaking and thinking things, but as soon as some trials and tribulations come along, as soon as some friction comes along, boom, they are right back in that same mentality of no, I can't. When the reality of, if you truly understand that you can have whatever it is that you so choose, if you truly understand that, then when challenges come about, you don't flinch. You know that everything will be fine and that everything will work itself out, simply because you know that, like you know, because you believe that the words that you spoke are truth. So it's not just saying it about speaking and thinking things into existence. It's actually believing it into existence just the same. And so again, people have to understand that matrix and understand that everything that you say and do, everything that you watch, it all plays a part in how things are going to operate within that box that you have yourself in. So what box you with, dog?
What box you in? No, on the real tip, you're totally right. What people don't want to know is that they are responsible for the exact life they have right now.
And I want to point out what you just said. It's what people don't want to know.
They don't want to know
because knowing moves you out of your comfort zone. Yep. Okay, knowing gets you uncomfortable.
Right. See, we want to believe that this condition that we are in, that is so much suffering, that someone else did it to us, so we the victim. But when you move towards that, you are actually manifested your exact life where you are financially, emotionally, relationship, whatever it is that you did it. Now that's like, whoa, I did this to me. Now that's hard to digest.
Oh man, especially you start talking about a woman that has, you look at somebody that has had multiple physically abusive relationships. What are you doing to attract that?
Right. Exactly. Over and over again. The same type of relationship over and over, because we are attracted to whatever it is that triggers us. Whether you got a trigger of bad or you got a trigger of good, you triggered that and you brought that into your existence to make that trigger happen. It is though you in a relationship, and I like to use this from Dr. Joe Spencer. He made a statement that's very interesting, and he's talking about neuroscience, the mindset. You can become so addicted to things that are bad, or things that upset you, or things that make you depressed. It could be a person or it could be a thing. Okay, let's say you're in a relationship, and this relationship was a bad, abusive relationship. You don't like it. You constantly go back to it. And then let's say you package that person up and you ship them to the moon. Boom, that problem's gone. No, that problem ain't gone. You're going to find that same scenario in someone else. You're going to find that same beat down or that same depression or that same dislike in someone else. Why? Because it resonates with you. It was already in you. And we continue to put that life in cycle. It is as though your feelings follow your thinking. Then your thinking follow your feelings. So you think what you feel what you think. You think what you feel what you think. If you think of something bad, you begin to feel something bad. And then the body can feel something bad, then you start thinking something bad. So you're in a cycle and you ain't never moving forward because you continuously feeding your desires and anger. Because it's your desire.
Hey, bro, when I stopped thinking about whether or not the police are going to stop me, I stopped getting stopped by the police.
Right. Exactly.
You know, it's amazing how that works. You know, I stopped getting stopped by the police. I mean, yeah, I've gotten stopped. You know, I remember I did that video post. I in all actuality, I performed an illegal act. Was the police sitting there waiting on me to do that? Because a lot of people do that right there. Yeah, he saw some California plates and yeah, he was waiting on that. I performed that illegal act. You know, I did not put my signal on when I went to go jump into that other lane to jump on the freeway. I performed an illegal act, you know, but guess what? Who cares? You know, I did it, had the conversation with the cop. Everything was cool. I was out of there. You know, I mean, I had a little, you know, I was coming back from Cali. So of course I brought some desserts back, you know, but ultimately didn't have to go through getting the vehicle checked, none of that stuff. Just asked me some questions. I articulated things very well, but that's the whole point. I don't think of myself as within any type of sect of people that are gonna constantly be getting stopped by the police. I just think of myself as Joe, and I'm doing what I do, and it is what it is. So yeah, I got stopped, but I can remember when I was younger, man, I used to get stopped all the damn time, you know, and I created this thought process that I quote unquote hated the police. But see, that's the funny part about quote unquote hating the police, is because when you want them there, like if you got a massive crowd of white supremacists on the other side of the street yelling and screaming, you down there talking about where the police at. Right. And we all we all saw that.
Oh with, man, isn't that crazy?
We all saw that with that where the police at? Why they
the police at? Now you need police help.
Man, you've been yelling and screaming at the police for like months now. If I was the police, I'd leave. Because I don't know, man. I don't know. I leave with the mindset that everybody can't go, man. Everybody just can't go.
No, everybody's not going to comprehend the statement that you where your life is right now is what you produced. If you are worried about your bills, well, guess what? Every month you're going to be worried about your bills because you're actually producing that same cortisol hormone of fear, lack. I'm lacking. Think about it. If you say you're broke, say, well, you got any money? Well, I'm broke. Well, guess what? You are broke. And, if you continue to use these terms, I don't have any money, I'm broke. That's what the universe gives you.
I never have any money.
I never got no money. I can't never do nothing. Well, guess what? You can't never do nothing. And if we start realizing that we are actually projecting the life that we have, maybe, just maybe, you will change the way you think and watch your life change.
But think about it. People say it all the time. For instance, I give you a couple examples. Number one, everybody has experienced thinking about someone and then they end up calling you.
Correct.
Everybody's experienced that. And we say it. I was just thinking about you. But we don't correlate that to the idea that you produced that happening.
Like thinking of a song, and then you turn on the radio and the song's playing.
Yeah, or an idea that you had about a business or something, and then all of a sudden you see it not too long after you see that same idea.
Exactly.
So right then and there, that tells you that you are tapped in to this universe in some type of way that allows the fact that when in fact you think of something, you speak of something, it happens. So, I mean, if people stop for a second and just take a look at that, because everybody, those examples that we just gave, everybody has experienced that. So just think about that. What if you were to actually be intentional with your thoughts and your words and allow those things that you so desire to truly manifest itself? If you would just be intentional, you're accidentally accessing the power of the universe. Try being intentional with it.
Right. Now people hear this, and you know why they can't do it? Because they don't really believe it. Everybody's heard of manifestation, how you can manifest your life that you want. People don't believe it. Let me give you an example. If I was to ask anyone listening, have you ever tried to use your thoughts to bring about your life or to change your life? And surely everyone would say yes. Okay, well, why isn't it working? Why don't you have the wealth that you desire? Well, I don't know, because of this and that. But here's what's missing in your thought pattern of manifestation. And this is what I bring to the table when I'm speaking at the Knowledge Fest, is that there are several components that are needed to understand how you can manifest the life that you want. There are several components. And I'm going to put these components together for you and get you to kind of understand it from a layman's term, okay? First of all, if you have a thought and you hold that thought for a long period of time, the thought will become a feeling. I don't care what the thought is. If you hold that thought for a period of time, it will become a feeling. If you hold that feeling for a period of time, it will become an emotion, okay? Meaning that if you can feel something from a thought, that's a neurotransmitter. That means the brain and the body's connected. So if you hold that thought for a long period of time until it became an emotion, guess what? It can now turn into a mood. And what's the difference in a mood and an emotion? You can see a mood, you can't see an emotion. Right? Person can have an emotion, you really can't see it. But wait until you get them and see them in a mood. You're like, you in a bad mood, aren't you? You see, because it came from a thought. So here's the secret, or it's not a secret. Here's the plain thing. Here's the plain information in your face. You have to have a thought of whatever it is you want, and you have to see it existing right now. And how would it make you feel when you reached it? Like, I'll give you an example. If you're thinking of driving a new car, you're thinking about it. How does that make you feel? How, when you get that new car, how would it make you feel? Wouldn't it make you feel a little bit more prouder, a little stand up? If you're buying a house for the first time and you're walking in with the key, how does it make you feel? Don't it make you feel a little taller, a little better? Because that becomes now a neurotransmitter to where your body knows what you're thinking. So now your body doesn't know whether it is in this reality or not. In other words, you can think of something. You could think of eating a lemon. You can think of having a fight. And your brain will send a neurotransmitter to your body, and your body doesn't know the difference. So it will start reacting as though you're eating a lemon. Thinking about eating a lemon, guess what happened? The juices from your mouth starts to flow. But you ain't eating no damn lemon. But the juices from your mouth starting to flow. If you start thinking about having a fight, guess what happens? Your brain sends a neurotransmitter that goes down to the heart. The heart pumps it through all the vessels of your body, and now your blood vessels open up. Now you either ready to fight or you ready to flight. Either way. So what am I saying here? If you have a thought of something you want in life, something you want to achieve, what you need to do is have that thought and add an elevated emotion to it. Because see, the universe don't hear what you're thinking. The universe reads frequency. Frequency is something the heart sends out and the universe reads, right? So you got to have a thought and you got to put it with an elevated emotion. If it's not with an elevated emotion, guess what? You won't produce shit. And so if all the time you worried about your bills, guess what happened? When you think about, oh, it's the end of the month, what does it do? It gives you a feeling, low feeling, lack. Guess what? When the end of the month comes, you got that lack feeling, and surely it's going to produce it for a month after that. So
and that's because they're adding that elevated emotions
to it. So you got to have a thought of something positive that you want to see yourself achieve. You want to see yourself accomplish, that is fitting you, that you think you deserve. Think about it as though it exists right now and add an elevated emotion to it and allow the universe to bring it to you. Everything takes time. Some things happen overnight. But if you continue to use that same sequence that I'm giving you, I guarantee you, your life will wake up mornings after morning and you'll see yourself getting closer and closer to that ideal or that thing you want in your life. I guarantee you.
Yeah, because it's not that, you know, something will manifest itself out of thin blue air, but it's that an opportunity, a door will open, a knock, you know, something will happen to get you closer to that thing. But if you're not paying attention to it, if you're not being intentional with what you're saying, what you're saying right now is think of that thing that you want, add an elevated emotion to it, understand how it feels if you have that thing, and focus on that. Well, if you're not doing that, then you're not being intentional. Correct. And if you're not being intentional, then the universe is going to reward you everything that you deserve. And guess what? If you're not being intentional, then you deserve the results of being unintentional. All right. If you're being intentional and you are adding that elevated emotion, and guess what? If it's a car that you want, hey, maybe you need to go test drive that car so that you can get the feeling of it.
Right.
You know, so that way you can go sit and you can meditate and you can think about, man, how it felt to drive that car. You start smiling and, you know, you just feeling it because that's your car. That's your dream car. And you want that car, man. And next thing you know, you got a job offer that pays way more money. You never know how it's going to manifest itself, but it will if, in fact, you are intentional about what you're trying to do. So, you know what, man, you know, we've had a good show. We've had a good long show today. Had some good conversation with some brothers today. And that was great. And, you know, again, I want to give a shout out to everybody. You know, once again, healthdaddywild.net. Again, home of the 100% plant-based vitamins, herbs, cleanses, and teas. They are here to help you live longer, feel better, look great. Remember, 1806 Ralph Avenue. That's Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Somebody just popped up. And once again, folks, we got a surprise guest popping up here. Brother Sabir. How you doing there, family?
What's up, man? Yo, what's going on, man? I had to come out and get my coffee, man.
Oh, that's what's up.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Appreciate you coming on the show, man. Appreciate that, man. Look, man, you know, you got any secrets, man? Because I just started, man. I'm trying to get some things to pop off.
Leave it alone.
Okay.
What I said? Leave it alone. Let it grow.
I got you.
And
I
you know
got
what else I'm gonna tell you? But cover it up though, man. If you don't like the way it is, like just keep something covered on it. Like get a Scully or something and leave it on, bro. That's how I did it for a while, man. I just, you know, every day I was thinking I want to cut
I'm trying to, you know how it is, man. You go through that what we call it quote unquote ugly stage, and I'm trying to get through it without taking some clippers to it, man. I'm trying to get through it, man.
I regret it. I did that one time. Honestly, my hair would have been longer than this, but I cut it about here because I didn't like it. You know, now it's been like probably 4 or 5 years now, so I'm not cutting it no time soon. I'm good.
Good, man. So cover it up, family.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate that.
Brother Sabir, I got a good question for you. And the information that you're giving is very powerful, very inciting for the individuals to understand who they are and where they come from. Give us an example that will help the individual, after knowing who they are, to be able to unlock the universe and have the life that they want to have in this dimension.
You know, I'm gonna take a quote from Karras when he said, "How you going to battle when you unarmed? You got to be armed with the right information." And now, since we on here, I can show you what I was talking about earlier today, and I believe I'm gonna bring this book to you. This is a book right here. I don't know if you can see this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jews of Morocco.
The Jews of Morocco.
1892. So it had nothing to do with them, but it honestly had something to do with us. 1910. The other one was 1892. That was 1910. The Negro, the Jew. So it's like some books you have, you know, you pick up, and I watch people when they research, and I'm like, where y'all getting these books from? Like, where y'all getting? Like, it's like you know the book is there, and you ignore these types of books, and you go get the other books that make you feel good, you know. But the information's been out for our people for the longest. It's just that a lot of our scholars ignore it because it's not the trauma cup. But you truly have to have knowledge of who you are and start asking questions. I was blessed to have my great grandmother. At the time, she passed away at 106, and she had her mind and everything, brother. And we don't have that anymore. I mean, most of us don't even probably have our grandmothers around. You know, but I was happy to have blessed to have my great grandmother around. And I remember having a conversation with her. She was born in the 1800s, and she told me that she remember us being called Moors. You know, and what happened? She said we were told not to talk about it. You know, and that's the bad part about all this, man. You know, so that is very important. The piece they don't want you to talk about is the Moors at all. You can talk about everything else, but don't bring up anything about the Moors. Nothing.
Why do you think that is? I mean, I've talked to Brother Ptah about the Moorism and such, and I mean, I'll be honest, man. There's some very enlightening, sound, you know, conversation there. And when I hear that conversation, I'm kind of intrigued. I'm kind of wondering, like, okay, you know, because I'm hearing about court documents and I'm hearing about you know, I mean, Brother Ptah, you know, you ask him and he's like, man, they clear the room when I go to court, you know, because they don't want people understanding and hearing this information.
They do that. When we started doing what we was doing in Philly, they literally were doing that. They used to keep us at city council meetings because of that. He's coming in like deep with fences on. They used to literally like try to keep us out, but then they started turning the cameras away from us because city council meetings used to be like public, on TV. So what they do, we would purposely try to get in front of the TV with our faces on. But what happened, they would turn the cameras away, you know, because that's how much of an impact we had on the people. And it is now. And I'm telling you something that was over probably 20 years ago. But the thing about it, though, they know that we are in this age now. We're in this age of information, and it's coming out. You know, so you can talk about Black Lives Matter. You can talk about Pan-Africanism. You can talk about, you know, African-American, but nothing pertaining to the Moors, which was way before all of that. Way before we started calling ourselves Black, because Black is not even ancient. It's modern.
It's a modern term, if you look it up. And again, to me, it's no money in it. It's no money in any of this, brother. In the truth, there is no money in it. It's money in white supremacy. It's money in blaming the white man.
Exactly. I agree with that. In this transfer of wealth that's going on right now, there's a transfer of wealth where the universe is going on right now. So at the end of the day, our problem individually, not so much as collectively, because we can't offer nothing collectively if we can't help ourselves individually. Give me a good synopsis or understanding of how understanding who we are and where we come from will connect us to this wealth of transfer that's going on right now.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. The best education is to travel. I'm gonna tell everybody this. The best education, brother, you'll learn a lot when you travel. That is the best education that I can say to people. But you also have to understand what wealth is. You got to understand your purpose, and you're the wealth. That's what I said. Once you know who you truly are, you become that wealth, and you become valuable. We don't know, so we keep pointing fingers. I'm gonna ask you a question while we on this platform, right? And I said I wasn't going to talk about it until I probably get to the event. I'll probably do it a different way, but I'm trying to be careful about what I'm saying now on here, because I'm trying to save it for the event. Are you familiar with Ibn Khaldun?
No, I'm not familiar.
You're not familiar? Okay. So how could you talk about wealth, right, when you don't know who this man is? Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun was from Tunis, North Africa. If you look up Ronald Reagan right now or speak on Ibn Khaldun, Ibn means son. That's what Ibn means. It means son. Ibn Khaldun was the father of economics. And what he would do, he would travel from place to place. He died in Egypt, but he's from Tunis, right? And he would go to, like, let's say, for instance, like what people are doing today, they would come to him for advice and on economics. If you look him up, in every Ivy League college, they study Ibn Khaldun. Why our people don't? Why? Because we don't understand truly who we are.
Right.
And we don't even talk about North Africa. North Africa is Africa, you know? But Ibn Khaldun is a big figure. You speak to anybody from any other country about Ibn Khaldun, they will say, oh, we know who Ibn Khaldun is. Black people in America don't, but he's African. He's the father of economics. He wrote a book called The Muqaddimah. I bought the book when I was in Tunis. So all of this play a part, like again, having true knowledge of yourself, and you become the wealth. You become value.
Tell me this.
That's what this thing is about, having knowledge of who you are.
Right. Tell me this. It's very interesting. Now, I want you to ride with me for a second. Okay. Let's say an individual, and here's the thing about neuroscience. Okay, so whatever you're thinking, whatever thoughts you're holding in your brain, whatever emotions that you're holding, is connected to the new cells that just entered your body. Like every 20 minutes, we have a brand new of 20 billion cells or more that just new that are not connected to what we're thinking. Until we actually have a feeling, then it's connected to it. Those thoughts become dormant and they lay in our body. So when we have a thought, we begin to have a feeling. When we begin to have a feeling, we feel it through our spirit, through our bones. So there's this thing called inside of neuroscience of peptide neurotransmitter. So every time you have a thought, even though you may have a dormant cell, whether you was abused, well, no matter what it is, when you have a thought, you trigger those cells that rise up in your body, right? So let's say a person that's born into this world knew nothing about his past, knew nothing about anything that deals with any history or anything. Let's say he's just born on an island He's eating the right food, so he's connected to the earth, right? He's connected to all the cells that are feeding his cells. Now, with that said, this individual had the ability to unlock the universe so that he could live the life that he wants. And he could live any way that he want to live based on what he's learned from that moment. What would anyone who has a historical understanding say to that individual who have found themselves to where they're connected to the universe based on their own cells and how their cells function and connected? Because here's where I go at. In the brain, there's an electric magnetic wave that is connected to the electric magnetic wave in the field. So I can actually come up with a thought as I am in business, as I am as an owner of a patent, as I am in owner of trademarks. I think of something, I use a thought pattern of how I think of something fully, whether it is a cup or whatever it is, and I continue to allow my brain to bring that into this existence in this dimension. I don't need no one's historical lesson to get there. All I need is the understanding of how my brain works. That's where I want to go with.
And you know, it's funny that you said, as you're talking, I'm listening to you. Brother, listen to me. Everything is already in you. It just needs to be pulled out. You know what's funny? Go watch, you know, as you watch that new Mortal Kombat, you gotta find your purpose. Everybody has it. See, people don't understand that. Like, when you look up and find out what education is, right? Edu means to draw out what's in you. That's what education means. What they're doing is putting in and then taking out. What you just, you know, brought up is in you. So you have to find your purpose. And that's what was the whole thing of Mortal Kombat. He said, you got to know your purpose. So sometimes somebody got to come to you to trigger that. It's like when you blow out that candle and someone comes with a lighted candle and that smoke comes up and you ignite that candle. Sometimes people have to do that. So some people need, you know how people come in people's lives for short term, long term? People come in people's lives for a reason, you know, just to spark something that's already inside you. So I'm not telling you nothing new. I'm only here to spark something that's already in you, that you already know. It's in your DNA.
That's a fact.
There's a book right here that you should pick up, right? Propaganda. You should really read this book by Edwin Bernays.
Okay.
He's the founder of public relations. If you look him up, if you read his book, and if y'all in media, you should understand this. When I was doing video, you know, you kind of can see where things were going. And I said in boardrooms how they would try to manipulate me, but didn't understand my mindset. They said, what school did you go to, Sabir? What do you like, Sabir? They would ask me questions like this. So once they can figure me out, they can say, okay, now we know how to move out on him. But everything was already in me. I don't have to read a book. The books are for people. You follow me? So this is why they were burning books at one time. When you study true history of the Moors, there's a thing called black water. What they were doing, they was throwing the books inside the water and kept certain of our medicine books. So the books were made the water black from the ink. There's a lot of history that was going on. So they burnt our books, threw the books in the water, and what happened? Because all the information was in here. But I tell people, be careful, like what's going on now in Palestine and Israel. You know, when you stop a war, right? When war go war, you can destroy history. And the people who actually won can rewrite the history. That's what they're doing. So you got to be very careful and go within. And you have to have griots. You have to go and also travel and sit with those people to find out. It's in you. Like I said, I sat with my grandmother. She was there. She saw it. She knew what was going on. So all I'm going to do and what you're doing is bringing out what's already in people. You are an educator. And the first educators are mothers, are the women. They're the first teachers.
That's right.
But we got to go back to ignite them back. You follow? We got to ignite them, raise them up to an upright, perpendicular, straight up on the square. We got to bring them back. Everything is already in us. Like again, the only reason why I pull out books is for people.
Right.
Because
okay.
That's where we at with it.
Yeah.
You mentioned a book by Ibn Khaldun, and I think it was the Muqaddimah.
It's called the Muqaddimah, means introduction. Okay,
all right. So that was the book, because the question out there was definitely Muqaddimah or Prolegomena was I guess another book that he's written. And it's interesting, because as I'm sitting here, I'm just kind of reading up real quick, and they talk about Ibn Khaldun as someone who is described as, and this is right here, it's information that you can tap into, the founder of modern disciplines of historiography, sociology, economics, and demography. It's but you don't hear about that stuff because I think it was somebody named Adams or something that they describe as the founder of economics or something like that. But when you Google father of economics, Ibn Khaldun does not pop up right away. You got to go digging. You got to actually research.
Yes, and that's why I said when you go there, you will see it. And then I stayed in Tunis for probably 3 months, literally, because I was supposed to speak at university out there until this pandemic happened. I was supposed to speak there. So what happened? I was like, yo, this is mind-boggling. I was only supposed to be there for a week. I stayed for 3 months. No lie. But it got so interesting. Yo, we don't know about him. Then I started looking him up. And then my boy was like, yo, look up Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, if you punch in Ronald Reagan on Ibn Khaldun, I'll show you how the manipulation play. Listen to Ronald Reagan speak on Ibn Khaldun. They say, I met a man from Egypt. His name was Ibn Khaldun. He wasn't from Egypt. He was from Tunis, and then he went into Egypt. His family died from the Black Plague. But what happened, he was moving from place to place, and they was basically hiring him as he was moving. Like the emperor was hiring him. And everybody else knows about him but our people. We don't know about him at all. But you ask anybody from any other country who that man is, who Ibn Sina is, they're going to tell you exactly who all these people are. And these are people that we should know about. And that's how you empower people. You empower them by that. That's why I said the best education is to travel. My daughter too, she's going to start traveling. She's going to learn like 5 languages. That's what I'm instilling into my daughter.
Wow.
You have to travel.
Yes.
Man, it's interesting because, I did just that. I Googled Reagan and Ibn Khaldun, and there's some interesting conversation, even stuff printed in New York Times about Reagan paraphrasing some of Ibn Khaldun's work. Whereas,
So how are we going to talk about economics, though? See what I'm saying? How about economics don't bring him up?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, because he quoted Ibn Khaldun in response to a question about tax and spending cuts. He quoted him. So, it's just interesting that there's so much information out there. How can a person just narrow down and say, you know what do I start to read first? I want to find out more about my history. I'm seeking my purpose here on earth. Where do I start?
I'm gonna share this with people, man. I know, again, I don't know if your grandparents are still here, your great-grand, I don't know, but that generations are gone. That generation gone. But there are books like J.A. Rogers' books that you can pick up. This is one of the best books I tell everybody to pick up. If you need to get this book, brother. Everybody should have it.
100 amazing facts about the Negro.
It was J.A. Rogers, 1930s, I think it was, he wrote it. And he speaks about the difference. He breaks down the difference between what black, because black has no historical meaning whatsoever for African people. It's in his book, What else? He also speaks about what we would call before 1492, before 1500s. But see, people read that and they run from it because it is not fitting in little, the little boys club. They don't want to talk about it.
What's interesting is, and this is why I love what we do, John. I love this because I'm looking at this right now. So if you read this comment, I don't know if you can see this comment, Brother Sabir, but Layla Hampton, she is a local educator. She does homeschooling with students.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
right?
I think he knows who Layla is. You met her before. I think I've seen you with a picture with her here in Louisville when you came here to Louisville.
Okay.
But I may take pictures, but I don't know who people really are. I mean, keep it real with you, bro.
Got you.
I don't know.
So with that in mind, but But look at this. Look at this. She's now going to take this information and now pass that information on to her students, right? And so that's exactly. And so now we just took some information. Now we're going to affect another generation of people coming up with knowledge of something that the majority doesn't even know. And I just think that's dope.
Can I share something with you?
Yeah.
You know what's funny, dude? You know what's funny? It's not that they don't know. Let me tell you something. The elite people do know. They do know. They're not telling you that. And I was on the phone with Phil Valentine the other day, and we was talking about a lot of stuff, man. And he was just talking about how people are part of the WLOU, the universities, what was going on, how it was set up. And we were bouncing back and forth. He said, Sabir, don't stop. Just keep giving it to him. Don't stop. And I'm like, I'll be like, Phil, man, I'm tired, dude. Like, I'm done, dude. I'm done with my people. He said, no, you can't be done. You gotta give it to them. I'm like, dude, they hard-headed, bro. But I'm going for the younger people now. The younger people. Because the ones who do know is the ones that they, like I said again, if you were talking like Black Lives Matter, white supremacy, they'll put you to the forefront. If you were talking like that, yo, we got it. If we can talk about the white man who oppressed us, but there's no such thing as a white man. They're not white. You know what I mean? But the conversation goes. You know what I mean? People will talk about it. But if you talk about, let's talk about real economics, G. Let's talk about who started medicine, who was Ibn Sina, how did hospitals got started? You follow me? If you start talking like that, it's like, well, I don't know. That may not bring no money in. But Harvard studied Ibn Khaldun. Harvard studied Ibn Sina. Anybody that's a doctor know who Ibn Sina is. His Latin name is Averroes. As any doctor.
Let me ask you this.
All this stuff is us.
Let me ask you this question, brother. Let me ask you this question. Do you think this panel that's set up? Because I hear you, brother. I hear you. And I know who's going to be speaking at this event. Do somehow in your own
I already know where you're going at with it.
Do somehow your own
go with it. I listen.
Do somehow your own thoughts, you're gonna be stepping on some toes.
Dude, I swear, listen, I said I knew you was going there with this. Listen, I already know that. I was talking to Umi, right? We on the phone, they said, don't say nothing till you get there. I'm not. I'm fine. Because I can tell you what everybody gonna say on the panel. Just watch me. I can tell you listen to what I'm saying. I'm telling y'all this right now. Follow me. It's going to be white supremacy. It's going to be black. It's going to be, if it come up, maybe police brutality. It may be reparations instead of reclamations. And reclamations is what you need, not reparations. I spoke at UDC in 2008 on reclamations, not reparations, because reparations for when two nations fight one another. There's no nation called black. So I know the typical conversation on the panel.
Correct.
I already know what's going to go down. So you're right. I will be stepping on toes, but it's not intentionally. It's
not
just
intentionally. You're right.
We stand on 5 principles, and those 5 principles is love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and that's what we're supposed to stand on. I'm not going to say something to make you feel good.
Gotcha.
But I have to speak my truth, and that's all it is. And if you want to rebut it,
that's all they have to do. But that's the thing. It's not even your job to try to make people feel good. Our jobs is just to speak truth.
It's really not.
Right?
Well, you're a journalist, bro. You're a journalist. You don't deal with yellow. See, this is the difference, bro. There's a term called yellow journalism. And yellow journalism is it's like sensationalism. Like to make you feel good, or it's that type of stuff. You should look up yellow journalism. It's not real. Journalism is a person who researches. You research and you research the individuals. Like, I've researched everybody on that piano. I ain't even got to really research them. They know. I can look at their videos and stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's what a real journalist is. When I was telling you to know more than your audience, that's what I meant. When you look at that movie, Talk to Me, I was doing radio at that time in Philly, talking to LA. In that movie, Talk to Me, Dewey Hughes, which is Kathy Hughes' husband, he said, if you're going to talk shit, back it up. He said, no more than your audience. So always supposed to know more than your audience in media.
You're supposed to. That's
Absolutely.
what it is. So, but they're not like, that's not what they're there for. They're there for sensationalism. To make you, oh, it feel good. Like Malcolm said, going to a Kentucky Derby just to say I was there. That's why I asked Ptah to tell you, I was like, I didn't want to come. I really didn't. I kept saying I didn't want to do it because I already know in my head what was going on. But everybody kept saying, no, you have to be there to see it and hear it, to hear what's going on, to address it.
But that's kind of I think the idea behind this, and that's what I love about what Brother Ptah has put together. There are people with different points of view that are going to come together. Everybody has the same love and passion, I believe. I'd like to believe that we all have the same love and passion for our people to want to progress and move us forward. But we got different plane of thoughts as to how we go about doing it. I know I'm in alignment with anyone who is speaking to the power that we have within to move ourselves forward, or for any one person to move themselves forward. That's where I'm in alignment with. Sitting back, getting stuck, and talking about what was, that ain't moving nobody forward.
Well, in order to move forward, you got to know what happened, what took place. So the thing is
absolutely.
that I've been in it for so long that everybody that you saying that do want to move forward and come together don't want to, brother. I'm gonna keep it up with you. I've been in it for a long time. I've been in rooms, and my name is mute. That's why I laughed when you said, nobody knows who Sabir is. The reason why you don't probably know is because, number one, I'm not out here for fame. I've been doing it for too long. I'm not out here for that. I'm out here to spark you. So what happens, they see you, and they say, well, he might talk this stuff right here. Don't bring his name up. It's not one person. Honestly, brother, I've been on the road with a lot of people. I can name drop if I choose to. I've been with around Eddie Griffin. I've been around DL. They all know who I am. We have conversations. But what happens, they don't want me to come on these platforms because I'm not thinking the way they want to think. I'm not talking white supremacy. I'm not blaming the white man. I'm not using the black term. So they do know in this so-called conscious community. But the key is, are you conscious of your consciousness? Because I'm not inferior of nobody. So again, it's not about us coming together. They don't want to come together, brother. I'm dead serious. If anybody know me, I'm with Zulu, Temple Hip Hop, RBG, Pop. I'm all. But you ain't gonna hear them talk about me. You gonna hear them say something negative, but you ain't gonna hear them talk the way I'm talking. Because you don't talk ill about nobody. I just speak the truth.
I noticed that. When I was looking at you, when I first came aware of you on Sinatra and some other videos, that you were able to really work with a lot of brothers on different perspectives. That was very interesting. Even when I think you did a thing with Professor Smalls, that was very interesting. Just to sit down with that brother.
Oh yeah,
a lot about who you are.
Yeah, in LA.
But that's good though.
Wesley Muhammad. I brought Wesley Muhammad to LA. We did something together. I adopted Kaba 3 times in LA. I do it with all of them because a lot of those cats are elders, brother, and they need their recognition. And that's how I am. So I sat in the room with these brothers before, but these cats that's out here now, it's like that's not what they're about. And I believe, you know how they can sense that? They can sense that I'm not with that bull, and they say, well, we ain't gonna bring him up. If I could, brother, offline, I can tell y'all some stuff, and y'all probably get mad. You be like, serious, and I'm trying to hold my tongue because a lot of stuff be happening, brother. Believe me. And my name, you don't want to bring up. I'm telling you, don't bring him up. And it's sad, man. That's why I said, look at it. I'm just going in for Brother Ptah. I ain't gonna lie. I told him that. I'm only doing it on the strength of that.
Right.
Because these cats don't want to come together, brother. And if you go to an event, you're supposed to get something from it.
Yeah.
Not the same old bull. Not the same old feel good. What are you getting out of it? What did you get out of it? Did you tell a person to go get a book? Or did you tell a person, you can't talk about economics if you're not speaking about economics for real. You are the value. You are the currency. You're all of those things. And you got to know your purpose, because this is the key. If you don't know what your purpose is in life, somebody's going to put you to work because they know what their purpose is.
Exactly.
You don't know. But you have to know your purpose. I know my purpose in life, and I'm doing my purpose. I'm living my purpose. That's what I'm doing. So when I go travel around the world, go ahead.
No, go ahead. When you go travel around the world.
I said, when you travel around the world, it's like I'm giving you me and I'm coming back and I'm giving it to y'all. Because most people can't go where I go at. And I was in these places by myself. I literally was in these places by myself. Phil thought I was crazy. If you ever been to Morocco in certain spots, not on a vacation, I was inside the Medinas where they don't shoot you at, they chop you up. So you better make some allies when you go to these places. And if you know anything about Fez is a bad place to be at. Seriously, that is a very bad place. But looking like us, they look like all of us there.
Hey, I feel like I done made it through Little Haiti in Miami, so them Zoes down there don't play, man. Ain't no guns, it's all machetes. So I feel good about making it through that. But look, let me ask you a question. Women on the panel, you know, we don't have any women that are going to be speaking at this year's Knowledge Fest. And I feel like maybe we missed the mark on that. What do y'all think?
Should have been. Yep. It should have been women on the panel. It should have been. It was one sister that they should have had on there. Sister Roz. She'd have been thorough on there. But we should have had some sisters on the panel because you know we all come from the woman. That's the first university right there. You know what's funny? I told a European this one time in Philly. He was telling me the original Jews were white. I said, no, the hell he wasn't. I had a white t-shirt on, right? And I pointed to my shirt. I said, no, they wasn't. I said, they said they look like me. And he said, what? I said, yeah. He said, what university you go to? I said, I went from my mother's womb, and I pointed to the sky. Yeah, he was pissed off. The first university was the woman. And that umbilical cord and that placenta, that umbilical cord was all our fezzes. That whole fez represents the woman. So he was. I
think Ptah should. I think Ptah should have a. I don't know. I mean, I might be speaking wrong here, John. But I mean, shoot. I know locally, Layla would be fantastic to have up there and speak some words. She's an educator here locally. She would be dope. I
might pull on stage. I might pull up.
Dr. Kia. Is Dr. Kia local?
Yes. Well, yeah, she's here in Louisville.
Yeah, you know, she speaks to some self-worth understanding. She would be dope to have up there as well. We got some local women that would be real dope to have up there. We might have to put a little bug in Ptah's ear and see if we can squeeze a couple things in, make a couple things happen. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's the time, bro. That's what I think it is. I think it's the timing of the event and what's going on. I don't know the layout of it, but I think it's the time. But I believe you have to rent that center. You have to rent that center also. That's probably what it is. And you know, this is another thing. We run around here talking about economics. Where the hell is the centers at? These cats that's talking about economics, bro. And I said this about Harlem one time, right? I said, you mean to tell me, right? Out of all these years we've been on 125th Street, we don't have not a goddamn storefront, bro, like real rap. Like, because if you go to somebody else's event, you're going to have to be out at a certain time. So I'm sitting, I don't know if y'all know how much money came out of these so-called debates. I don't know if y'all know, there was so much money that came out of those debates and not a damn nobody owns no property. I could say probably the 5 to 10 years out of all these cats talking about economics, where's our center that we can have lectures that we can go all night long? The only person I can say that was going there, what's that brother name in Atlanta? Jay Morrison.
Oh yeah. I'm familiar with Jay. Yeah, he raised up a bunch of dough and has a collaborate of people in real estate and raised up a bunch of dough, and they have bought their own center with multiple offices and everything out there.
You see what I'm saying? So think about it. How can these people talk about economics and you have not built nothing, no brick and mortar? That if we want to come to an event, that we don't have to be out at a certain time. Out of all this money that went through New York, bro, I'm not gonna lie. If I can tell you, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm the one that sparked all these debates out here. I just walked away from it. But it was so much money, brother, put inside these debates, and nothing came out of it. Not even a building they own. You know, out of all the money that people put up, and I mean, when I tell you, brother, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that came through, straight up. But again, man, that's why I said I was done. I was over it, man, because nobody really want to do anything, brother. I'd rather stick with the media. What y'all doing? Reach more people, G. What y'all doing right here will reach more people and bring more people together and bring in economics at the same time. So like my brother would tell me, monetize your joint, brother. You know, monetize what you do.
Brother,
because I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Plug yourself in where they can find you. You hear me?
Go ahead and shout.
Instagram is real. Yeah, my Instagram is real Sabir Bey, SABIRBEY. Real Sabir Bey on Instagram. You'll see me with my son on there. And my YouTube is just Sabir Bey. I have different Facebook, and they keep cutting me off so I had to create another page. So I have, one is my main page is, I'm serious, but I've been getting booted off for like 2-3 months.
I know the feeling.
I did this before there was YouTube and Facebook, so I can keep going.
Yeah.
So my YouTube is SABIRBEY, Sabir Bey. And then I also have a Sabir Bey radio page. And then I have a Sabir, this may be hard to get to. That's my name in Amharic, to get to. It's Ethiopian language, to get to. Bey. Okay. TISTU.
So I tell you what, we tagged you to a couple of those platforms on I know on Facebook. We tagged you to a couple things on Facebook. So hopefully we tagged the right thing, the Sabir Bey Show on Facebook as well. So hopefully we tagged all the right things, and you can jump in, give us a like, a shout, or something, and we can continue to tout what you do, and just continue to inform the people, man, because this stuff here, these conversations like this is the stuff that is needed. This is the stuff that is warranted in today, because we're going through something right now.
Brother, I got one question for you. I got one question for you before you go. And this is not a stab. Well, it is probably a stab at other events. But where do you stand on the vaccine? There's some of these events pushing vaccines. Where do you stand?
Man, we be thinking alike, bro.
Vaccine right now.
Dude, do you know that's why he blocked my page? Because I was talking about it. So I didn't listen, bro. I've been in 15 states since this happened in one country, not vaccinated. Why would I get vaccinated, bro? That's insane. I eat healthy. I take care of myself. Why would I do that? I carry all of them regular with me every day. When this kicked off, I was coming back from Spain, right? February the 28th, I think that happened around. It came big in March, right? I was getting off the plane, mind you. I was overseas for 6 months when I was coming back at that time, right? I'm getting off the plane. I'm looking at people with masks on their face. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I thought I was in that movie Z. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is going on? You know? So since then, I have not sat still since all this took place. People don't even know. I've been in a lot of states. I ain't sit still since this happened. I've literally been gone. So I wouldn't take it. Why would I? I would never take that. And people gonna regret it in a couple of more years or years. They're gonna get ready to regret this, brother.
That's right.
And I see it now. They regretting this because they don't realize it's all smoke and mirrors, brother. And that's part of the propaganda. They don't realize it's coming. And if you pay attention, you'll see it happening. Look at what they're trying to do with Fauci now.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Happening.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's happening, brother. So I got blocked on YouTube because they said they wanted YouTube and my Facebook. They said I went against community guidelines, and I hit them up. I said, what community? What guidelines? What? I'm asking questions like, huh? What's the guidelines? I mean, truth? Like, I literally hit them up. So when I did if you go to my YouTube, you will hear me say, I called out YouTube, Facebook, and I think Instagram. If you go on it, you'll probably see me say that, right? I do it all the time. I did it in TMZ. I go at all of them. I don't care. And and TMZ was down the road from where I used to do my radio show at in LA. And I called out TMZ for saying something stupid. You know, it's like, come on, man, we gotta speak truth, brother. That's it. This stuff right here, this plan. That's why you hear me saying pandemic. It's pandemic, not a pandemic.
Oh yeah,
brother.
You
We
can't
gotta have you back, brother.
Yeah, you can't have the average person just. It blows their mind. The average person, it blows their mind, and they can't even fathom the idea that our amazing government did this to us. they still thinking that people flew planes into buildings, but you know that's a whole nother conversation when you start talking that. But man, we got to have you back on the show, bro.
It really is. I was sitting back here just thinking about going live because Dr. Cobb is out here in Chicago, and I'm going to go see Dr. Cobb. He's doing a book signing out here in Chi-Town. So I think I'm going to go see him real fast.
I think today or tomorrow at Frontline Bookstore, he's going to be at Frontline Bookstore in Chi-Town. And then I think he's going to be at Underground Bookstore out here in Chi-Town too. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd love to come back, man. You know, it's funny. Let me tell y'all something about y'all, right? I really don't do shows. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't do nobody's show. And I was feeling y'all brothers. Anybody know I turn everybody, I don't do nobody's show. I really don't. And I was like, it's something about these brothers, man. I said, and I'm like, and Ptah said, you gotta get on, it's not like that. I'm like, all right, let me hear them. Let me hear them out first. Let me see what they're about. And then I'll say, oh, come on. Because I want them to ask me the rough questions. I want them to. Anything you even thought you heard. Because when you stay ready, you have to get ready. You know, I like it raw like this. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, ask me the question. What? And like he just said, you're going to step on some toes. And he's right. That's why I was laughing. I know I am. In a good way.
I mean, I think both y'all brothers are speaking at this event, and both of y'all brothers are gonna step on some toes. that is truth right there.
Even if you want to throw the ball to me, I'll be like, what do you think? Okay, what's up? Like, if you do that, I'm fine with it because I can freestyle. If you throw the ball to me, I'll be like, okay, not a problem. Because this is the thing. Like most of the time, the audience may not know the questions to ask. You see what I'm saying? Like I may charge something out to you just so you can try to ask me. You know what I mean? So some people just sit there and let everybody talk. Yeah, bro, that's power. Yeah. No, ask me. Because if he threw something to me, I'm like, yo, okay, alley-oop that mug. Yo, what up? All right, this is what it is. So I'm glad he's going to be on it. You know, it's going to be fun. I'm bringing Out of Darkness there too. I don't know if y'all saw the documentary. I only have 20 copies left.
Okay.
But I'm bringing some copies with me too. You got to check it out, man. That film is crazy. We had it at the film festival for like 3 days. We bought TV for a week. You know, now we in 60 countries, 60 languages.
How can us here at the Tipping Point Show go ahead and lock in a copy since you only got 20? How can we lock in a copy right now?
I got you. When you see me, let me know. I put it to the side.
Okay.
All right, that'll work. We'll show it here on the platform. That'll be awesome.
All right, no doubt, brother. I thank you, brothers, man. Keep up the good work, man. Stay positive, brother. Know your purpose.
Absolutely.
Man.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Looking forward to seeing you.
Appreciate you. All right, peace, bro.
Appreciate y'all too. No doubt.
Hey, so John, man, we've had nothing but a fantastic show. And look, we got more people out there telling us they want a copy of Out of Darkness too. Yeah. So we're gonna have to figure this one out. You know, maybe we can have an event over here at the spot at the theater, and we can do a showing.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, you know, get a little Frank Stoner food going on, and you know, I'll do something. You know, I'll do a little chefing, and we can take the private movie theater over here. We can host a little showing of that. That would be dope.
That's an ideal. That would be dope. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So cool. We'll think about that. We'll think on that, and see if we can get a select group of people that want to participate in that. So that's awesome. But man, once again, another great show. Any last words before we bounce out of here?
Last words. Well, let's say that this was a very interesting show that we had, and I definitely appreciate where we went with it, the information that we got out. A lot of times, y'all don't know that we do this right off the top of our head without rehearsing, by the way. So, I want to tell everybody that's listening to this show, listen, if you have a business, if you want to donate, if you want to support our show, please share, go to YouTube, click like, or give us a thumbs up. But also, there's an app that you can actually donate $1 to $10 to keep our show going on, to keep it moving. What we do with that money is basically help pay some bills and to bring you information, because it's really about bringing you information that no one else is bringing you, right? And so this is why it's important to support us and allow us to do what we're doing. We have a great connection here. We have great vibes, and we want to continue to do what we're doing. So anyway, with that said, you can also find me on Esoteric Podcast on YouTube and Facebook, on my page, Facebook, where I'm also doing the same. We're just giving information that is positive, health-wise, and how we're looking at things from a different perspective. So please support us, keep us moving, and keep us going with this effort that we're trying to do.
Yeah, hit us up, the Tipping Point Show on Cash App, folks. I mean, if you just drop $1, come on now, just drop $1. If I can get 100,000 people to drop $1, then we can do so much to give back even more.
Exactly.
Because that will directly affect the ability to be able to have showings and things like that for these awesome movies like my brother's about to bring to the table. So being able to donate, man, means better conversation, better production, all that good stuff, folks. John just gave away the secret sauce. He said that we don't rehearse. That's the secret sauce. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, folks. We touch base a few times throughout the week, and we talk about, what we're thinking about as far as the show is concerned. So we have some conversation about it. But he's right. We just kind of get on here and we create the conversation as we're going along. So again, the Tipping Point Show, $ the Tipping Point Show. That is our Cash App. And folks, there are plenty of people who are very intentional that have things that they want advertised and stuff like that. And we've got weekly sponsors that send us weekly sponsorship, which we don't charge that much. We're not looking to charge that much because we're dealing with a lot more small businesses. And so we're not trying to bang people in the head. But I can tell you now that there's plenty of people who sponsor us that we mention their products, we mention their business, and they have told us that they've seen results from being a part of us. From being, any contributors that we've had, there are plenty of people who said, hey, I like working with y'all because people come back to me and they say, hey, I heard about it on the Tipping Point Show. So, again, $ the Tipping Point Show, you will find that. And you can go ahead and shoot us $1 million, folks. Shout out to Miss Layla right now, who took just what we said and shot us a donation. So again, we appreciate that, folks. Shout out to, we got some more donations coming through the door. So appreciate that, folks. Absolutely. We love you. And anytime you want some time with us on air, whether it's the radio session or what have you, just holler at us, folks. We got you covered. Okay. All right. So once again, signing out. This week's The Tipping Point Morning Show. We will see you guys next week. We'll have some more guests for the Knowledge Fest 21 coming up. And, yours truly, as well as Brother John Yah, we'll be here next week to holler at you. Peace, folks.
Peace, brother.
All right, bro.